Greetings, Black family. Greetings, and thank y'all for tuning in to another episode of the Front Line Blacc News. I'm your host, Checcing. And it looks like I'm going to be solo dolo tonight because I'm at the Black House opposed to the Doll House. And on this season 5, episode 51, part 2 of the Front Line Blacc News, we will be discussing several topics. I'm going to get your ass off the couch. Badass cats. TSA agent warns Americans to stop flying during shutdown. U.S. government possibly coming to an end, shutdown. I'm not shutdown. The shutdown, U.S. government shutdown possibly coming to an end. Some aren't checking luggage. Oh, man, it's going on and stuff. UPS cargo plane accident in Kentucky. Engine separates before explosive fireball. Harvard scientists. Oh God, I'm so sorry, y'all. I'm still asleep. Harvard scientists, Manhattan-sized Interstellar Object, 3-eye atlas turns blue. Possible alien engine. Thousands of UFOs and USOs detected off the US coastlines, underwater and in the sky. US government silent. Mykfresh on Mystikal's release date and confirmed, and why Mystikal was against the Verzuz. Interesting. Then rapper Young Bleed dies from brain aneurysm, family says. Cardi B and the EBT SNAP-ocalypse and Colorado defense SNAP disbursements amid Trump administration's push to undo benefits. And we are based out of East Denver, North Aurora, Colorado. We get the news from a Front Line and Black First perspective. We are a part of the New Black Media and also Signal Boosters of the New Black Media. We have been around for 5 seasons now and counting, and we have several platforms that are part of the Frontline campaign. Frontline Blacc News is the first one, started back at the end of 2020, beginning of 2021. So we're moving into our 6th season. It will be in a couple weeks. Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced is based off the 50th anniversary of the founding of the original Black Panther Party for self-defense. We started on Blog Talk Radio back in 2016 and have been around for 10 seasons, going on 11 seasons now. Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced covers the Black experience from the beginning of time until 10 minutes ago. It's also part of the Frontline campaign, has recently, within the last 2 years, moved from Blog Talk Radio to StreamYard. Please make sure to like and share the broadcast, family. Please join us on StreamYard, YouTube, Frontline Blacc News. The links to all of our channels are in the description, including Frontline Blacc News, Frontline Blacc News 2. Definitely make sure y'all subscribe to Frontline Blacc News 2. That's the backup channel, just in case they try to take Frontline Blacc News 1 down, because, 2 strikes and 3 strikes, you're out. On my personal page, Jesse Paraseka A. Chain Kruma, the RBA, Lady Chase channel, The Revolutionary Agenda, Jay Militant's channel, What's Cracking TV with Jay Militant, Kukizi's channel, Kukizi's YouTube channel. The brother does our intro track usually for the Frontline Blacc News when we're on a paid StreamYard. The Church of Black Power, I brought out of Watts, California, who's now in Houston, Texas. His link is in the description. We did a great video earlier about why the price of reparations has gone up. And then we got Black Truth United, our young brother, I believe he's out of Detroit, Shout out to the brother. Um, Sign the petition for reparations. You feel me? What up, though? Please sign the petition for reparations. The change.org petition. Brother Black's Voltron Reloaded funeral and memorial GoFundMe. We buried our brother about 2 weeks ago now. So may he rest in big power, rest in paradise. She was really about that town business and that FBA business. So he will definitely be missed. Davion Canty Jr., Black student expelled or withdrawn from Texas University for mocking the death of racist white supremacist Charlie Kirk. His GoFundMe is in the description. Our brother Greg Marcel Dixon's GoFundMe is in the description as well. Help Greg Marcel Dixon seek justice after 10 years of dedicated teaching. And Lady Chase GoFundMe is also in the description. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowances made for fair use purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, education, and research. And I do not own the rights to the music. And if you don't understand racism and white supremacy, what it is and how it works, everything else you think you understand will only confuse you in all 9 areas of human activity, which is economics, education, entertainment, labor, labor law, politics, religion, sex, and war. Religion, sex, and war, and some say health and nutrition. And that was by the great Nelly Fuller Jr., who transitioned back in February of this year, 2025, at the age of 95. May he rest in power. ProduceJustice.com. What are you back kids doing? I'm gonna get your ass off the windowsill. Where's my water bottle? Hold on, y'all. Get your ass off that windowsill. Sorry, I got badass kittens now all over the place. When you, a black person, are captured by any race soldier, you must never fuss, fight, or flee. Comply and defend yourself in court. Also by Nelly Fuller Jr. ProduceJustice.com. And then racism and white supremacy is conscious and subconscious behavior to maintain white genetic survival, to prevent white genetic annihilation. And that's by the great Dr. Francis Chris Wilson, who transitioned back in January of 2016. And our good brother out of LA, Tariq Nasheed, paid for her funeral along with several others like Dick Gregory, Dr. Ben Yakin, the list goes on. So big V1 certified salute to Tariq Nasheed for that. So those are the topics. Thank y'all for tapping in. Make sure y'all like and subscribe to the Front Line Blacc News. Let me hop right into it. Uncle Phil's going to give us an update on why the TSA agent warns Americans to stop flying during the government shutdown. Sorry, y'all, my apartment is a mess. Okay.
Fortunately, a lot of our federal workers aren't being paid. You know, I know people personally who aren't being more people. You know, as this government shutdown is still paid, you know, I know people personally who aren't being paid, family members who aren't being paid, and they have more people that's warning, especially a TSA worker. And I want you to listen to a passenger that was going to be on the plane. What's also happening with some of the TSA workers that's not being paid. And you probably need to think twice a little bit, but let's go ahead and check this out.
Y'all should probably go ahead and open the government back up. Let me tell you why. We are headed to Charlotte for the color purple, and not many TSA workers, clearly. But one of the lanes didn't have a screener, like for the little machine. And they was like, we don't have nobody to screen. We ain't getting paid. You know what? Y'all go ahead and go on through. Our bags just went through the machine. Yeah, y'all should probably open it back up. That's a safety hazard. Lord protect us.
Yeah, this is day, I don't even know anymore because I stopped counting of not getting paid. And this is scary, y'all. This is scary. And I stand with all the TSA workers when they say this. Stay home, guys. Please stay home. It's not just us that's not getting paid. It's the FAA, your air traffic controllers. They're not getting paid, guys. We have over, I think, 40 airports who have cut back on their flights that have shut down their terminals. I know my airport, we shut down 2 of our terminals. We only have 4 terminals, which only means an influx of passengers that's coming our way. It doesn't make a difference. It doesn't matter if you close the terminal. We still got to bring these passengers in. We're talking about airports shutting down terminals and canceling flights because not enough of their workers are coming in because they can't afford to come in. And those who do come in, it's barely even making it. It's like literally taking pieces by piece from their savings, from their rainy day funds to come in because we know the greater purpose and we want to keep the public safe, and we know families are traveling and we care about that. Guys, I know some of y'all might tussle when I say this, but if you're traveling for pleasure or just leisure, whatever the case may be, stay home. Remake that plan. Go somewhere closer. This is scary, y'all.
And as you heard the first sister say, yeah, they just kind of letting things go through, which is kind of scary. It's scary because anybody can bring anything on a plane like that. The other sister that worked for TSA is saying that, hey, y'all need to chill out and not go nowhere. Cancel what you need to cancel if you can. Then I think we need to do that because, listen, that's not a joke. No, our traffic control is not showing up to work. Flights are being delayed at 40 different airports. Okay. And if you don't have to fly, I would not want to get involved with it right now. Now, this don't make a bit of sense. These people in Congress is doing too much. They playing with people's lives. They're playing on people's paychecks. They're messing with the air traffic control. They're messing with the TSA. They're messing with everybody, playing politics. But yet they're being paid. And what federal workers need to do is go up there to Congress and say, hey, I need my money because you getting paid. That's just crazy to me that they getting paid, but all other federal workers not getting paid whatsoever. Or they need to open the government back up. It's just that simple so people can get paid. And like, it's just not even a good look for the country. This is not a good look. Do you know they got people teasing America now, talking about Americans, food bank lines and all of that? You getting teased now, right? And I'm not embarrassed by it because, hey, it serves you right, because America always try to put down other countries. I'm not tripping on that. But it's utterly embarrassing. And these Democrats and Republicans, it's both of them. They need to go it on and sit down and say, hey, man, this week, get what y'all want. Okay, we will give you this. We're going to do that and just go get this government back open. But they don't care because they family is not on no SNAP because they all rich. They family is not worried about air traffic controls or anything like that. Because listen, they got it like that. And yes, I know Congress people fly in the airports and all of that. But man, bro, not until it started really affecting them is when they're going to do something about it. Until then, they're not going to do nothing about it. They don't care. And that's what y'all need to pay attention to. I'm talking about to anybody. They do not care. And the way this system is set up, it's not set up for people to thrive in. It's set up for people to be paycheck to paycheck unless you figure out how to get out of being paycheck to paycheck. But even if you have some savings, you know what I'm saying? If you don't got at least 6 months of savings, then right now you're going to be dealing with it. Or let's say if a person don't have two incomes coming in and they are a single parent household working for the federal government, you have no money coming in and they still expect you to go to work with no gas money, no lunch money. You got to send your kids to school. You got to pay for school and all that, for food. How are you going to do that with no money? This is dumb. I think Congress shouldn't get paid, but people like the air traffic controllers, the everybody at the airports, they need to pay. They need to be paid. That's essential. Essential services need to be paid. But they make sure ICE getting their money. They make sure of that. That don't make a bit of sense. Then okay, the military, you know, they not getting paid either. It's like you know that's not a good system. Anybody who works for the federal government should always never have to worry about their paycheck. They got it. They playing partisan politics with people's lives. And that's something that all Americans should think about when it's time for the midterms. They're playing partisan politics. If the Democrats want the subsidies for the Affordable Care Act, I don't see no issue with giving it because the Affordable Care Act benefits everybody. So what is the problem? You know, these Republicans a lot of times act like the money coming from their back pocket. It's not coming from their back pocket. The fact is Republicans don't realize that they're not going to be in office very long because people seeing that, okay, you're intentionally trying to hurt people. And I just finished up my live stream on African diaspora about the SNAP payment supposed to be going out, right? They already put up the email, SNAP payment's going out. Y'all, a minute ago, while I was 1 minute ago come across the wire, the Supreme Court just put in an order to block the payments now. I just finished my live stream not even an hour ago, and the Supreme Court blocks the payments of SNAP because Trump filed that. How does that make the Republicans look good at all? So the money was supposed to be going out. People's getting emails that the money coming out, and the Supreme Court comes out not even a minute ago and blocked it. Let me pull it and say the Supreme Court has granted Trump administration emergency appeal to temporarily block a court order to fully fund SNAP food aid payments amid the government shutdown. It just now happened. I mean, it came across. Let me read exactly when they dropped that. They just dropped it literally because I say, what? They blocked it? Yeah. So now you're not getting the payments in. Boy, I tell you. So no SNAP, no federal workers getting paid, no TSA, no FAA. Nobody's getting paid, y'all. But the Congress people getting paid. And the House is not even there. I mean, this government has got completely dysfunctional. This is crazy. It is utterly crazy. But if you're a federal worker, like I say, man, y'all, boy, I tell you, when the Republicans and Trump get out of office, oh, it's gonna be so many lawsuits. Oh my God, it's gonna be so many federal lawsuits. The government gonna be paying out so many lawsuits. It's gonna be crazy. It's going to be crazy. Cause a lot of this stuff that's going on is just not even illegal. And it's just not even right. How do you like no urgency to get these people paid? No urgency to make sure people get food? No urgency. People need to really assess who you sending up there to be your Congress people. I'm just saying you need to really assess that. Look, you know, Zoran Mamdani, let me talk about him for a minute. All the Democrat establishment did not like him. Did not want to endorse him. They didn't want to, even not at all. You need more candidates like that. When the establishment Democrats don't want to even talk about you, that's the people that you need up there. Right there. Because this country needs to shake up, y'all. It needs to shake up. Y'all really need to pay attention to this. How these politicians will put you through so much hurt and pain, they don't care. They will do it. Or it's the Republicans. It's the Democrats. It's all of y'all doing it. You can't point fingers at each other. It's all of y'all doing it. You've been doing it. Y'all need to open this government up and get them people paid, man. That's not right. I'm sorry, that's not right at all. I don't see how y'all sleep at night knowing that y'all got people out here can't pay their bills, no food or whatever. But you good? That man, like I said. But you know what? Like my grandma always say, God don't sleep. He don't sleep, and you always, the seed you sow.
It's what you reap, you sow. So, but I get what you're saying. So yeah, so this was like from a day ago. So, luckily, me and Lady Che are in a Trump-proof state. I guess you could call it a Trump-proof state. State of Colorado, I believe. State of California is also a Trump-proof state. So we got our EBT benefits 3 days ago now. So we're good. But the people that aren't, definitely our thoughts and prayers go out to them, because this is some bullshit. Like, they're really gambling with people's lives. And like Uncle Phil said, the midterms is coming up. So get these mugs about office. If Zohan Mandani showed anything, he's not on the surface an establishment candidate. So, he's not going to do nothing specifically for black people. He was able to mobilize a large voting block of illegal immigrants and legal immigrants to vote for him. So if black people could do that for our people, for a candidate of our choosing, I think we will be in a better shape to get that across the country. So in other news, the government shutdown is almost over. They're saying the Senate Democrats have come to a resolution with the Republicans. So now they're working on a bill to end the shutdown, and it has to pass through the House. And once it passes through the House, the government shutdown should be over. So ABC Nightly News is going to give us an update on that. Or NBC Nightly News, rather, is going to give us an update on that. But first, the air traffic control issues.
Senators, with a rare Sunday night, both sides are considering a deal to reopen the government. We have team coverage tonight, starting with Shaq Brewster in Chicago.
Massive travel disruptions and new warnings as the government shutdown drags on.
2 weeks before Thanksgiving, you're going to see air travel be reduced to a trickle.
More than 2,000 flights canceled today, surging nationwide since the middle of last week with no end in sight. More than 8,000 delays.
My flight got canceled today.
The Trump administration ordering even deeper flight restrictions this week, directing airlines to cut 6% of flights at 40 major airports by Tuesday, 10% by Friday, in an effort to ease the strain on air traffic controllers who have been working without pay.
The flight is delayed 7 hours, and my connecting flight in Atlanta is now canceled till 7 o'clock tomorrow morning.
Other passengers facing long waits before security and on the tarmac, hearing messages like this.
I appreciate you bearing with us tonight and just going through the staffing shortages, etc.
Air traffic control staffing shortages causing a temporary ground stop today at Newark, where the FAA reports delays there averaged more than 2 hours. An Airlines for America analysis found staffing shortages contributed to 71% of delays Saturday, warning of secondary impacts from missed connections to crews timing out.
The impact that this is having on everybody is just a nightmare.
And with Thanksgiving quickly approaching, families are already shuffling their plans.
My dad was going to come in for Thanksgiving, he's already canceled his flight, and he's just going to drive because he doesn't want to deal with this.
Shaquille Brewster is joining us live from O'Hare in Chicago. And Shaq, even if Congress were to get to a deal on ending the shutdown, it's not as though the airport delays would stop immediately, right?
That's exactly right, Hallie. Both Delta and Southwest Airlines say that they have already made those cancellations mandated by the FAA through Tuesday, rebooking or refunding those passengers. Meanwhile, the Transportation Secretary, Sean Duffy, says that those retirements among air traffic controllers have only accelerated during this shutdown, meaning passengers may be feeling the effects of it long after the government reopens. Hallie?
Shaquille Brewster live for us in Chicago. Thank you. And as that government shutdown snarls flights, here in Washington, some late developments tonight with the most action yet on talks to make a deal with senators at work on a Sunday. But any kind of final agreement could take days, if it happens at all. Here's Yamiche Alcindor.
Tonight, the longest government shutdown in American history could be coming to an end. After 40 days, a preliminary compromise is being discussed, and both parties in the Senate are expected to accept it, according to 3 Capitol Hill sources, 1 Republican and 2 Democrats.
We're still working on some small issues, but we expect to probably vote this early evening on getting on the bill, and then we expect that to pass.
The new bill would fund the government through January 30th and could include a guaranteed separate vote on the expiring Affordable Care Act subsidies that Democrats want to extend. Those subsidies have been at the crux of the shutdown stalemate. If the deal passes in the Senate, its next stop would be the House. President Trump would also have to be on board. He's attending the Commanders-Lions NFL game tonight in Washington.
Our stock market hit an all-time high. Prices are coming down. We inherited a mess. Prices are coming way down.
Pressure has been mounting on the president and his party as recent polling showed more Americans blame Republicans for the shutdown. This weekend, the president floated the idea of giving Americans cash for health care costs and $2,000 checks as tariff dividends. But the Treasury Secretary later said the health care plan wasn't formal. Millions of Americans have felt the crunch of high expenses, especially those who rely on government food assistance programs. Overnight, the Trump administration demanded states immediately undo any steps taken to provide full SNAP benefit payments or face financial penalties. 70-year-old Patricia Brooks never got her SNAP payment this month.
It's very unfair. They're using politics, to do all this, and it's affecting people.
Yamiche is joining us. What does all this back and forth mean for the millions of Americans who rely on that SNAP assistance to get by?
It means more confusion for people who rely on SNAP to feed themselves and their families. And even if this deal to end the shutdown passes in the Senate, it would then need to also pass in the House, and that could take days, even though Republican leaders are already talking about bringing back House lawmakers on Wednesday, according to a leadership aide. Hallie?
Much to watch this week. Yamiche Alcindor at the White House. Thank you. Parts of the Midwest are on alert tonight for up to 1.5 feet of snow with an Arctic blast.
Yeah, man. So we'll keep y'all updated on the government shutdown, which is entered day 40. Amounts to be 41. Longest in the U.S. history, as we covered last night on part 1 of the Front Line Blacc news. And yeah, there's Arctic blast coming through, so stay warm, Black family. If you can't afford your utilities, make sure you apply for LEAP. It runs now until April of 2026. So, in other news, there was a plane crash outside of Muhammad Ali International Airport in Louisville, Kentucky. So Lisa's going to give us an update on that. UPS cargo plane accident in Kentucky. Engine separates before explosive fireball. Share my screen. Here we go.
Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're all doing well. Well, many of you probably heard PS plane crash by now. Years ago, there was one by FedEx, and I actually had a package on that plane. I remember that. And, of course, I had to resend it. They did compensate me, but the bottom line is these things do happen. Now, in the case of UPS, it looks like one of the engines fell out of the plane. And from what I understand, I believe this plane had 3 engines and one dropped, and that's all it takes is for one to drop. And I mean, it's tragic. And unfortunately, people did lose their lives, but these are cargo planes, so they're not going to have, over 200 passengers like some of your commercial airlines. But still, I think the last number I heard, it was 12 people that lost their lives. Man, that crash was explosive. And people that lived near the airport where it crashed all had to be evacuated. They had to get the people out of there because the flames just went everywhere. But you're about to see that in the video. And, it's really, it's a shame. But this year, if you can think back, in fact, I can think of the live streams that I did with True Royal, where we were talking about plane crashes. One was in a neighborhood in Philly, not far from where I live and where my father used to work. And then it was another plane crash. It was a small craft. It was all kinds of tragedies this year. And a lot of it was due to Donald Trump and Elon firing people. And many of those folks were also air traffic controllers, which was a stupid move. Then, if you remember, then he tried to rehire them. Now, there is a situation with the air traffic controllers, and I got another live stream coming up next on that. So many have stopped coming to work. They have to, just cancel thousands of flights across 40 airports. So it's pretty bad out here. All right, y'all, let's get started. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. I think whenever you see these plane crashes, it is so horrific. You just can't imagine how bad it could be. Okay, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Oh yeah, Big Levi, he's really on top of all these kind of disasters and natural disasters too. He's really good. Shout out to Big Levi. All right, y'all, let's get started.
You hear what I say? I swear to God, they just took him down out to the ambulance. Look at that fire, bro. Look at that fire, y'all. Look at it. Let me get a little bit closer if I can. Yeah. Look at that there, man. This crazy, man. This is crazy. Never ever in my life. 62 years of life, I ain't never seen nothing like this, y'all. Look at that fire. It's starting to intensify down there.
And right here, it's all we did. It's the whole line. We just can't see it because of the smoke. But
things are still exploding.
Yeah, and it's still busting.
Man, it's crazy, y'all.
That fire truck.
Oh, that's a bad motherfucker right there. Let me see this. This is something new.
Yeah.
They done pulled up on the scene.
They pull a transformer fire truck.
Oh my goodness. This a bad boy right here. I'm gonna get off that fire truck. I want y'all to see this intense, thick, black smoke.
Man, look at that shit. Yeah,
this shit 30, 40,000 feet in the air, y'all. I swear. This is crazy. Y'all look at this. Louisville, Kentucky, Tuesday afternoon, 5:10, 5 p.m. UPS plane. UPS plane, y'all, exploded. Not exploded, caught a fire, then it exploded. And we witnessed it. We witnessed it. As it was happening. This is like, we saw it.
Hitting the ground.
Yes, sir. We seen it hit the ground and explode into what you're seeing now. And there are more explosions as I stand here and speak with y'all because, you know, like things is intensifying,
so
man.
It must be bad over there.
Oh, it is bad over there.
Over here.
You know why? Because that's where the plane came down there. Yeah. So you know it's burning worse over there. I think one of them engines fell off over there to the left. That's where all that fire and smoke is coming from. I swear, man. Hey, this crazy, y'all. Grade Lane, 7200 Grade Lane, right across from Stooges Bar and Grill. If y'all familiar with that area, behind Ford and UPS plane. It looked like the plane was attempting to take off, and it got so far, and it caught a fire, and then it exploded. And this is what we had, and we witnessed this. I know it. What's up, little cousin? I'm in town, baby. I'm about to dip tomorrow, but I'm still here. For anybody else that's watching and know me, this is crazy. Yes, UPS plane, y'all. Crashed, like literally caught a fire in midair. It was trying to go up. It caught on fire, then it exploded. And this is what we got. Look at this here, man. This crazy, y'all. And I tell y'all, this is crazy. It's crazy, y'all. As you can see, that's Stooges Bar and Grill right there. So you know we over here behind Ford, UPS. This is crazy, man. I'm trying to bring all y'all in if I can, but I don't know how to do it. I want y'all to see, though. This is insane, yo. If we'd have been, and this is no exaggeration, if we would have been 2 to 3 minutes earlier, I ain't even gonna say 2 to 3 minutes, I'm gonna say a minute and a half earlier, we might have got impacted on this, y'all. Me and my cousin, my partner. But that ain't got nothing to do with that plane catching on fire, though. The tower right there. Yeah, I see the tower. Damn, shit. Now I think shit might be exploding over forward now. Oh, look at that there. You see that? Kind of hazard stuff. Yeah, man. Hey, man, I think that shit blowing up over at Ford.
This was a 34-year-old MD-11 with 3 crew members, 2 pilots and a flight engineer on board. It appears something went catastrophically wrong as this plane was accelerating down the runway in Louisville. We're going to show you some video. It appears to show at least 1, possibly 2 of the plane's 3 engines on fire as it was in the process of taking off. Whatever happened quickly. The plane did not stay in the air very long. It would have been loaded down with a lot of fuel.
¡Oh, my God! Papi, ¿viste? Te lo estoy diciendo, Dios mío. ¡Ay, Dios mío!
Pero que... Vamos a ver.
Papi, cuidado.
Espérate.
¡Ay, Dios mío, señor!
You can imagine a jet full of fuel bound for Hawaii crashing like this would lead to a massive fireball. Now, we're going to show you some of this video, but we do want to let you know that some of these images might be disturbing for some people to watch. The plane crashed near Louisville International Airport, leading to a shelter-in-place order. Officials say the plane was loaded with 250,000 pounds of fuel, had 3 crew members on board. They say this was the plane's 3rd trip of the day, and it experienced some kind of engine trouble at takeoff.
There are more than 100 firefighters on the scene from across the region that are still here, that are working to make it safe for everyone in our community.
It appeared that there was a significant fire in one of the engines as the aircraft was racing down the runway to take off. Theoretically, the airplane should have been able to get airborne on 2 of its 3 engines, but it appears that that fire in one of the engines was so catastrophic, so well developed, that it may have prevented the aircraft from ever getting airborne.
UPS posting a statement after the crash saying its heartfelt thoughts are with everyone involved, adding that they will work tirelessly with state and local authorities on response efforts. Now, officials confirm there were no hazardous materials on board, but the crash could cause environmental problems. And while the NTSB is investigating what led up to this crash, Louisville's mayor says Muhammad Ali International Airport has reopened 1 runway this morning.
Horrifying footage shows the moment UPS flight 2976 en route to Honolulu, Hawaii, takes off Tuesday. Its left wing engulfed in flames. Seconds later, the cargo plane comes crashing down, erupting into a massive ball of fire. Officials say there were 3 crew members on board. A second video taken from a nearby vehicle shows the explosion setting multiple buildings on fire.
There was an accident on departure.
The sheer scale of the devastation was immense as firefighters worked to contain the fast-growing inferno, which ripped through an industrial area south of the airport and grew to the size of a city block.
This is an all-hands-on-deck response.
Kentucky's governor later confirmed the plane was full of about 38,000 gallons of fuel and smashed into at least 2 businesses, a waste management company and an auto parts store. At least 2 people are unaccounted for, and it's unclear how many were inside the buildings.
There was no specifically hazardous cargo on board of the plane that would create an environmental issue for those around the site, but the impact and where it impacted could create those types of situations.
The National Transportation Safety Board will lead the investigation into the cause of the crash.
This is extremely rare. You don't see these type of things hardly ever. The question will be for the investigators, what type of maintenance was being done on that left engine beforehand, in the hours beforehand, what type of maintenance history there was.
Now, the UPS facility here is called Worldport. It is the largest employer in the Louisville area with more than 20,000 workers. UPS issued a statement. I want to read you in part what they said. The company said it is working with state and local authorities on response efforts and halted package sorting operations here last night.
Call the UPS dispatch. They might have more info on it. And souls on board. Do you have any of that? Or is it UPS? No info on that. And it was UPS. Everybody right.
Ultimate Radio, be advised there's been a large explosion off Fern Valley Road by the airport. Lots of black smoke.
Chief Officer, we are receiving multiple calls for service for smoke in the area all around that appear that it's going to be related.
Engine 81, Engine 78, Engine 178, Quint 76, Quint 66, Engine 65, and Battalion 76. You're showing a possible explosion in Fern Valley and Gray Lane. We've got multiple calls. I got a UPS plane possibly landed on a building.
After being cleared for takeoff, a large plume of fire in the area of the left wing occurred during the takeoff roll. The plane lifted off and gained enough altitude to clear the fence at the end of runway 17R. Shortly after clearing that fence, it made impact with structures and the terrain off of the airport property. A post-impact fire ensued, which covers approximately almost a half of a mile. Now, we have viewed airport CCTV security coverage, which shows the left engine detaching from the wing during the takeoff roll. This and other videos, along with evidence we are finding, are a very valuable asset to our investigators in helping us hone further which areas we were going to be focusing on as we move into further days of the investigation.
Some new information on that horrible plane crash in Louisville yesterday, the UPS plane. The flight data and cockpit voice recorders have been recovered. The NTSB says that the left engine was on fire and detached from the aircraft. It then did a roll, ended up, it looks like, on its top, exploding, spewing gas everywhere. Obviously, it was fully loaded with fuel, 36,000 gallons, nearly a 250,000 pounds of fuel on that plane to get to Hawaii. The main runway is still closed. They have to make sure it's not damaged, make sure there's no debris on it. They have to check all the fuel, make sure there wasn't fuel problems with contaminated fuel that might have gone into other airplanes. 9 people confirmed deceased, including all 3 crew members, so at least 6 on the ground, people still missing. Just a horrible, horrible thing. This is an MD-11, an older plane, but still, these planes are meticulously maintained. We'll get more information. We won't get a final report, though, for at least a year, probably. But oftentimes, the first things that they say after they have some pretty good information is often what happened. We just don't know all the details yet. Just a horrible scene there.
This morning, devastating video showing the moment a plane crashed in Louisville.
Said there was a huge explosion, believed to be a plane crash, huge fire and smoke. Arson is responding as well.
Video showing the UPS cargo plane smoking. It crashed shortly after takeoff, creating a massive fireball, spreading to several businesses on the ground. The flight, on its way to Honolulu, took off from Muhammad Ali Airport, carrying about 38,000 gallons of jet fuel.
The scale of what's been called a catastrophic crash is becoming clearer. At 5:14 p.m. Eastern Time, UPS cargo flight 2976 from Louisville, Kentucky to Honolulu in Hawaii crashed on departure, triggering a massive explosion. It would have been heavily laden with fuel for that 4,500-mile journey. UPS said it was an MD-11 aircraft built in 1991 and had 3 crew members on board. At least 2 buildings on the ground were impacted, one of them a petrol recycling plant, and authorities said they feared the number of dead, injured and missing would rise.
Anybody who has seen the images in the video know how violent this crash is. And there are a lot of families that are going to be waiting and wondering for a period of time. We're going to try to get them that information as fast as we can. But if this is a family you know, please give them your support. Please give them your prayers. Please give them your love and be with them, because the toughest moments, and I can say it from personal experience, or when you're wondering whether that person that you know and you care about has survived something like this.
The debris is scattered over a mile, and although there was no harmful cargo on board, smoke from the flames could be seen billowing into the sky from miles away. and a shelter-in-place order initially extended to 5 miles north of the airport as far as the Ohio River. Air accident investigators have the grim task of ascertaining what went wrong on this flight, but the images from Kentucky will do nothing to allay fears that America's skies aren't as safe as they should be.
Here's a photo that is apparently of the engine from the UPS plane that crashed and killed 3 crew on board. There are 11 injuries so far, at least reported, and many buildings were set on fire. This was a McDonnell Douglas, a decades-old cargo plane that UPS has been flying, and there were apparently 280,000 gallons of fuel on board, but just incredible to see this engine that caused all of this mayhem shortly after takeoff. They were going so fast that they couldn't abort the takeoff, but they were also not able to really do anything, because when you have an engine fail on takeoff like that, it can be very catastrophic. And I feel terrible for everyone affected by this. If you are in the area, the smoke is toxic, so do not breathe it in. I do not want people breathing that in.
Rescue mission is underway in Louisville, where a UPS cargo plane crashed right after takeoff. And we are getting some new information, brand new information from Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear, who now says at least 16 families have reported loved ones unaccounted for. 16 families say they can't find their loved ones. Now, before the governor said that, we knew at least 7 people were believed dead. But the governor now says that death toll will likely rise. The plane tore through multiple businesses near the airport, among them a petroleum recycling plant that had tanks full of propane and oil. The plane itself was carrying more than 38,000 gallons of fuel, enough to last the 8-hour flight to Hawaii, where it was headed. The flames and smoke could be seen from miles away. A new photo appears to show the plane's debris scattered on the ground, including that which is believed to be one of the plane's engines. Let's get right to Louisville.
Boy, that was horrible. Just looking at that. And they said they had to evacuate the people that lived near the airport because it was just so much smoke and flames everywhere. So they had to get out of their homes for a while and go to shelter. But it just goes to show you, y'all, this is just more judgment on America. At the end of the day, that's what it is. It's more judgment on this place. But yeah, I mean, it could have been a lot worse, y'all, if they would have had a plane full of people and not cargo. It would have been a lot worse. So the fatalities would have been a lot greater as well. So, wow. It seems like every year it's one of these planes that crash, and then the fire just goes everywhere. Remember the one that hit around Roosevelt Boulevard, and the houses on one side of the street just started going up in flames. I mean, it's just crazy the way these crashes are. So yes, it is a major shortage of airport staff in the country right now, and that's due to the government shutdown. I can imagine that's going to get far worse as holiday travel comes up. A lot of those folks ain't hardly want to get up, deal with them big old mobs of people for free. They're going to have a big problem on their hands, for real. So I have that coming up at 1:45. I hope to see you all back for my next live stream. Until then, y'all, let me say my thank you to G. Bowman Jr. in those days when he shall cast the calamity of fire upon you. Whither will you fly, and where will you be safe? Enoch, chapter 102, verse 1, Cepher. Yeah. And thank you again for another super chat, G. Bowman Jr. And where will you fly in the day, time of judgment, when you shall hear the words of the prayer of the righteous? Enoch chapter 97, verse 2 in Sefer. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your support for my channel. I deeply appreciate it. And on that note, y'all, shalom family. I'll see you at 1:45.
Shalom, Lisa. All right, thank you for that update, Lisa. Yeah, that was crazy. That plane crash was something serious. And man, I'm surprised there was only 9 people dead. Like, that was really bad. Shout out to that brother that filmed the whole thing. That was really, really bad. And other news, 3i Atlas. We told you we we're going to keep you updated on 3i Atlas. And we are still going to do that despite the government shutdown. So Lisa got an update on 3i Atlas. 3i Atlas has now changed colors again. It's gone from being a regular color comet to green to now blue. So I don't know what the hell this thing is. Some say it might be an alien engine. Let's see what Lisa has for us on that. Harvard scientists says Manhattan-sized stellar object 3i Atlas turns blue. Could it possibly be an alien engine? We shall soon find out. See what Lisa has for us. Shout out to Lisa Cabrera again for this awesome commentary and video.
Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Hope you're doing well. Oh, man. It's just starting to get dark. I am not used to it getting dark this darn early.
Yeah.
Give me the longer days. So anyway, we're going to talk about 3i Atlas because it's now doing all kinds of strange things. Now it went from being green, and I remember showing you when it was green in the sky, it is now blue. And it has accelerated, it has gotten brighter. So they're reporting all this stuff, the changes that it's making. And at one point it was above the sun instead of behind the sun. I mean, and there are still some saying it's a comet. There's no way. Usually they are saying when a comet gets by the sun, it will turn red just from getting heated up by the sun. This 3i Atlas never turned red at all. It has turned blue. Thank you, Eagle Champion, for the super sticker and support for my channel. And, so it's still not doing things that a comet would do. And it's baffling. You can see the fear. They don't know what's going to happen. It's just like in the beginning when I was telling you, they claim it was going to go behind the sun, then go past Jupiter and leave our solar system. Now they're saying it's staying. It may never leave our solar system. In fact, they think reinforcements are coming. I was listening to a video this morning, and they said they believe it's signaling more ships to come. So who knows what's going to happen? Being that no one has ever seen this occur before, everybody's just speculating. Yeah, it said it got very bright in blue, which tells me, Chocolate Spirit 79, that it probably got stronger being around the sun. Yeah, energy, it probably almost like getting gassed up at the gas station, and having that full tank of gas. So whatever it did, it seems to have made it stronger. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen so you can listen to these videos. And, no matter what happens, some of them, some of the people are out here saying, be prepared. How do you prepare for something like this? I don't even know if that's possible. I think you just got to be ready and make yourself ready for anything to come. I mean, yeah, well, it's getting a hell of a charge from the sun. That's all I got to say in order for it to get brighter. All right, let me share my screen. There we go. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
Three-Eye Atlas just shifted its orbit against gravity, raising serious concerns among scientists.
Before the noise of its discovery reached Earth, Three-Eye Atlas had already rewritten a law of nature. Spectra showed nickel where there should be dust, metal where there should be ice, a Manhattan-sized visitor bleeding a human alloy in a place where industry does not exist. It wasn't arrival that unsettled scientists. It was recognition. Something out there was doing metallurgy in the dark, a city in the dark between worlds, in the deep, airless quiet between Mars and the sun. Something the size of Manhattan is shedding metal. Astronomers first logged it as a fast mover, an interstellar object slicing into our system on a cold, efficient trajectory. They named it Three-Eye Atlas, third known interstellar visitor, unbound to the sun, not born here, not shaped here, not ours. It should have behaved like a comet. That was the expectation. That is always the expectation. A frozen body close to heat, ices flash to vapor, pressure builds, and the thing starts bleeding out in a curved, glowing tail that stretches away from the sun like a banner. We've watched that performance all our lives. No one questioned the script. In late July, the Hubble Space Telescope tracked it and produced an image that made observers uncomfortable for reasons they could not immediately describe. There was no gorgeous sweeping tail being blown backward by solar radiation, no long white veil curling into space. Instead, there was a concentrated jet, a hard stream of expelled mass, firing in exactly the wrong direction. Rather than peeling away from the sun, the flow of material was aimed toward it. That jet wasn't light and pretty. It was dense. According to the reported analysis, it carried roughly 330 pounds of material every second. Carbon dioxide, water, trace cyanide, nickel, no iron. It wasn't drifting behind Three-Eye Atlas like a bridal train. It was almost like thrust. It was pointed. When the Keck 2 telescope in Hawaii got time on Three-Eye Atlas in August, the data came back with something nobody had language ready for. Spectral work suggested that Three-Eye Atlas was giving off nickel at about 4 grams per second. But again, no sign of iron riding with it. That ratio is wrong. In every normal comet ever studied, including the 2 known before Three-Eye Atlas that came from outside the solar system, nickel and iron show up together in broadly comparable amounts. They are partners. They condense out of the same primordial furnaces. You do not get one without the other. This is where Harvard astrophysicist Avi Loeb stepped forward and said the quiet part out loud. He told the New York Post that the plume coming off Three-Eye Atlas appears consistent with nickel tetracarbonyl, a highly specific nickel carbonyl compound that humans only ever see in industrial metal processing, including aerospace surface hardening. He didn't hedge. This was never observed for any other object. He said, this compound does not come from natural comet behavior exist out here. Nickel tetracarbonyl should not be coming out of a comet. On Earth, this compound shows up in controlled conditions. High pressure, carbon monoxide-rich environments where nickel binds with carbon and oxygen in a way that lets it be transported, deposited, used to plate or reinforce metal surfaces. It is toxic, volatile, unforgiving. Keck 2 reported the plume from 3IE Atlas as containing nickel flow at about 4 grams per second. Steady, not a one-time spike. There was no matching signature for iron in that same outgassing. That absence is louder than it sounds. In comet physics, you don't forget iron. Nickel and iron are forged together in stellar cores and supernova ejecta. They condense into primitive rock and ice. They sit in deep time beside each other. Even in the two previous interstellar visitors, objects that, like 3I Atlas, were not born here, nickel and iron both rode out in the vapor as they heated. Comparable levels, natural siblings. 3I Atlas breaks that rule. To lose iron and keep nickel violently and cleanly, you need selectivity. You need a filter. You need process. That is why Loeb said what he said. He basically accused 3I Atlas of being manufactured without using the word manufactured.
Holy crap, guys. We need to talk. Welcome back to Conspiracy Ninja. Another off-the-grid quick check-in on 3i Atlas. Please excuse the lack of editing on this one. I normally like to do some overlays and some sounds, and these are part of what I'm calling the off-the-grid series, which is meant to be a little more stripped down. All of these are unscripted. I want to make sure to talk about it as quickly as I can and get it out to y'all. I wanted to just share what I saw late last night and early this morning. 3i Atlas. Holy shit, this might be legit. So let's get to the point. Here's the update. I said in the last video, the color was rapidly glowing brighter and brighter and bluer. Two other things that I didn't mention that just weren't available information at the time. It seems like this information trickled out kind of staggered. It's not just that it's getting brighter, and it's not just that it's getting bluer. It's also accelerating, and it has an increased magnetic field. I was going to say, I don't know how they would detect that, but I'm sure the telescopes have an ability to detect magnetic fields. So magnetic nature of this object, craft, comet is increasing, and it's accelerating, and it's being termed as a non-gravitational acceleration, as in it is not necessarily the sun's gravity, that slingshot technique that NASA and other ones practice, if space is real. It's accelerating. In essence, they're saying it is also being propelled by something else. So, holy hell. I mean, here's where I stand on this. I want to believe, man. Call me conspiracy Fox Mulder Ninja, because I want to believe. But I just want to put it out there. There's a couple obvious natural explanations for this. It was right up against the sun, and that mother is hot and has all types of magnetic forces coming out of it. The solar flares and all that, that's like big magnetic fields coming out of the sun and just launching solar material into space, technically. Theoretically speaking, without being an astrophysicist myself, I can probably logically deduce that if 3i Atlas is hugging the sun that close, the magnetic forces from the sun could very easily have impacted 3i Atlas. Secondly, if it's a comet, and it's mostly made of metal, but there are some porous spots in it, being that close to the sun is going to heat it up tremendously. Think about those teapots that whistle when the water's boiling. The reason it whistles is obviously because that heat is creating a bunch of pressure, and the pressure is forcing all of the steam through a specific region with a whistle in it to make a whistle sound. If you had that same teapot in space, when it boiled, the part that's whistling is going to propel it forward. When a force gets pushed out the back of something, it's going to propel it forward. So by being so close to the sun, it could be explained. So I want to just put that out there first. However, and to me, this is a huge however, the odds, in my opinion, again, it's just my opinion, the odds are astronomical that this thing hit the solar system at the trajectory it did, just so happened to hug the sun at the exact place that it did, just so happened to turn around the sun as it passed, and just so happened to be it got heated up enough, and all of the spots where the gas would have been expelled from this comet just happened to be behind it, so that when it hugged the sun's gravity, it got heated up just the right amount to have those motherfuckers launch gas out the ass end and shoot this thing off. I just can't, it's hard for me to not think there's something else to this. So I just want to provide that update. And with that update, there's a couple quick things that go along with that. One, it feels like my theory that I proposed in the last video, if you didn't see it, I'll try and link that in the description below, could be more plausible now because it literally used the sun as a way to propel it. Shout out to some of the smartest viewers of Conspiracy Ninja. You guys are really, too much. This is the genius, smart person, other smart person, other smart person. Shout out to everyone that agreed with my theory and thought it was great. I thought it was pretty good too. Yeah, just saying. However, I also want to shout out a lot of the viewers that provided a twist to my theory and their own theories, because there was quite a few ones that I was like, yo, this makes so much sense. Like this one here talking about what if it is just us from the future. That's very possible. I love thinking about that kind of stuff. What if it's time travel? There's too many possibilities. You can't know enough to rule out any of these with any significant confidence, right? Or this one, which I really love. There's a couple others that were in line with this person's theory that suggested, what if this is like ancient earthlings from the past who left Earth to explore the solar system and then are coming back to kind of see what's become of Earth? Boy, I love that one for so many reasons. The main one is I'm a big believer in advanced ancient civilizations, and this falls right in line with that. In this comment, they also reference the mud floods. Another thing has been blowing my mind and I really want to cover soon, which I'm only just learning about in the last few months. Shout out to y'all for having some amazing theories. I love the whole idea that this could be Earth from the past. There was a mass exodus or a breakaway civilization because of some sort of disaster. The first thing that comes to mind is Atlantis, maybe? Atlantis was supposed to be this super advanced civilization that was significantly more advanced than a lot of the other ones on Earth at that time. If that's true, maybe whenever Atlantis went down, they left. Maybe they're coming back now. And I had a funny thought yesterday, like maybe they came back to be like, yo, let's see what's become of Earth. Let's see what's going on here. Maybe we should stop back in and say what up, see how everyone's doing, check in, see if there is anybody, and if there is, like, are they cool? And then they got close enough, they sent out some probes, they like monitored our news feeds, and we're like, nah, we're good. I think we're chilling on this ship. You guys, y'all good to keep going? I think let's just use the sun and get the fuck out of here, huh? This shit is a mess. Thank God we left when we did. We're just gonna use your sun real quick if you don't mind, and we're gonna dip. Good luck, we're rooting for you. Or as Shane Gillis would say, we wish him well. So anyway, that was just a quick update. I'm gonna continue working on those other videos I told you about. Let me know what you think. Is this acceleration and color change and increased magnetism all naturally explained? Or do you think that combined with all of the other factors we've discussed over the last few videos is getting to the point where like you can only account for so many coincidences before it starts becoming kind of obvious there's something more to this? The past us or future us, people from another civilization, another solar system, I'm concerned if they got to us and they were like, nah, we good, y'all can have that planet, we're gonna just check out the next one. If that's the case, like we might never find out, because I don't think NASA, the government, or whoever else is gonna tell us shit. It's always gonna be just a rock, and that's that. And one last little thing I promise before I go. Even if it is just a rock, which I saw someone put in the comments, and I don't disagree with you, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but even if it is just a rock, all of this other discussion has overshadowed how cool that would be. It's the third interstellar object to ever visit our solar system that we are aware of. I stress that because whenever we all say as a civilization, this has never happened before, it's like in recorded history. Can we just add it's never happened as far as we're aware in recorded history? That caveat I think is necessary. It's still a fascinating scientific thing. Like the fact that it is or could be a natural object, it's traveling as fast as it is, hit us at the way it did, and all the things about it that are so weird, it's still cool as hell, in my opinion. All right, leave your comments below. Let me know, do you think these theories that I shared are possible? Do you think this new update of it accelerating beyond gravitational forces is explainable naturally? I really want to know what y'all think. As you know, I answer every comment that I can, so let me know what you think, and I'll see y'all in the comments section. All right, I'm out. Thank you for watching Conspiracy Ninja. As always, stay safe, stay grounded, like, follow, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.
So let me get this straight. The Nephilim are coming back and the days are getting shorter. Buckle up, you guys. This just got biblical. Just when we thought the craze of Comet 3I Atlas was over, things just got more real. Scientific media is actually openly admitting that 3I Atlas is most likely an alien craft. Going as far as to say 3I Atlas has exhibited confirmed non-gravitational acceleration, an anomaly suggesting that forces other than gravity are acting upon it. Not just that, but it's been officially predicted that December 19th is going to be the time where 3I Atlas comes closer to the Earth than it ever has before. As a Christian truther, I've known that aliens are real for years. I believe that these aliens are Nephilim entities. So the fact that science is talking about this so frequently now, and it's been trending for months, concerns me. Matthew 24 says that the return of the days of Noah would happen in the last days. But in case the return of the Nephilim wasn't enough for you, scientific media has also said that our days are now getting shorter and that time is speeding up. And by the way, Matthew 24 says this as well. From my perspective, this is a really exciting time to be alive. But what do you guys think? Is this all just a coincidence, or are we really getting closer to end times? Let me know your thoughts.
3I Atlas isn't behaving like any comet or asteroid we've ever seen. It's not simply weird. It's impossible.
On a calm September night, astronomers watched as 3I Atlas, once thought to be just another interstellar comet, did something no natural object should ever do. It changed direction, deliberately. Then it pulsed at prime number intervals. Michio Kaku went on air and said it plainly, nature doesn't navigate.
If a comet were to hit the Earth, watch out. It would be a planet buster. It would be an object sufficient to wipe out all life as we know it on the planet.
Now Atlas is hovering just beyond Mars, in perfect balance, after executing maneuvers only spacecrafts perform. If this isn't a comet, what exactly is it? The turn that shook Kaku. In September 2020, 3 observatories, Mauna Kea in Hawaii, La Silla in Chile, and the South African Astronomical Observatory detected something strange. 3I Atlas, originally discovered in March 2024 and confirmed as interstellar due to its hyperbolic trajectory, was not behaving like any known comet. It had been following a predictable path through the solar system, just as expected for an object entering from deep space. But then it changed direction. Not because of gravity, not because of random jets of gas. It moved in a clean, calculated shift mid-trajectory. The movement wasn't chaotic like most comet behavior. It was smooth, and then it repeated, once, then again, at precise intervals. Every 17 minutes, Atlas pulsed forward, a short, sharp burst of acceleration, not violent, not random, just enough to change its orientation and nudge it closer to the orbital plane of the planets. This wasn't just strange. It was surgical. Within hours, simulations began failing. Modeling teams from Harvard, Caltech, and the European Space Agency watched their predictions break apart. The data refused to stabilize. Each new motion made the previous trajectory obsolete. The object was adjusting, just like a spacecraft would. That was when Michio Kaku stepped in. He appeared on television with a calm, measured tone, but the words were unforgettable. "We should not expect flying saucers," he said. "We should expect the unexpected, a change in orbit, a sudden correction, a signal that something is obeying logic, not nature." And that's exactly what scientists were seeing. Atlas wasn't rolling or fragmenting like a comet approaching the sun. Its orientation stabilized, its spin slowed, and the timing of each burst was too perfect to ignore. Observers in Hawaii, Chile, and South Africa all confirmed the same thing. These were not outgassing events. They were deliberate thrusts. The intervals between them were mathematical, consistent. Orbital dynamics experts quickly recognized the maneuver. It was called orbital trimming. It's something spacecraft do when preparing for a gravity assist or a precise flyby, not something comets are supposed to know. More observatories scrambled to catch up. High-frequency tracking began. Thermal scans, light curve analyses, deep radar sweeps, anything to make sense of the pattern. And still, the object moved with intent. No random veering, no crumbling tail. Instead, Atlas was refining its path, zeroing in on a stable, predictable course, closer and closer to the planetary plane. For anyone studying orbital mechanics, the message was loud and clear. If this was a natural object, then our understanding of physics was broken. But if it wasn't, then 3I Atlas wasn't just passing through, it was driving. Prime number signals. A Chilean observatory team, analyzing James Webb infrared data, noticed something unprecedented. 3I Atlas's emissions weren't random, they pulsed, at perfect intervals, 131 seconds. Then 173. At first they thought it might be sensor error, maybe a calibration bug. But the same pattern appeared again, and again, in readings from ground-based observatories, in logs from South African and Spanish astronomers using private infrared arrays. Even amateur setups picked up the same rhythm, different tools, same pulse, Room for error disappeared. SETI protocols are clear. A signal must meet 5 criteria before it can be considered non-random: narrow bandwidth, a source beyond Earth, repeatability, structure, and persistence. Atlas's emissions began ticking through that list one by one. The prime number pattern wasn't just a curiosity, it was a warning bell. Prime numbers, numbers that are only divisible by themselves and one, don't occur naturally in timed sequences. They lack rhythm. They don't show up in explosions or radiation decay or comet outgassing, which is exactly why they're used to flag intelligence.
Now, until recently, we haven't seen dust being pushed back behind the object by the solar radiation pressure.
They're intentional. In 1974, the Arecibo message used a prime sequence to introduce Earth's first radio transmission aimed at extraterrestrial listeners. It was the simplest way to say, someone made this. And now an object in our solar system was responding with the same idea. Michio Kaku spoke plainly.
So I'm making a video because I was on TikTok and I saw one of the channels that I like. Her name's Ashley. She's got a great channel. She was talking about, as well as others are talking about, how in Israel the Jews are regarding Donald Trump as Messiah. Than ever.
The news yesterday was that this object came closest to the sun, and it received a huge amount of heat from the sun. And the latest report indicates that it became familiar comets.
What does that tell you?
Well, that is not the most unusual fact. It actually is bluer than the sun. And a blue color usually indicates very high temperatures.
Something does not pass the smell test. Something definitely smells like a dirty night. But before we go ahead and believe the script that's playing out in front of us, who was the individual that started all this? Who was the individual that led people to believe that the 3I Atlas was a UFO? And that individual, his name is Avi Loeb, but his first name isn't Avi, it's actually Abraham, and that's going to be pretty important for something I have to show. Avi is just a nickname. And it was this same individual, Abraham Loeb, with his team, that decided that the 3I Atlas weighs 33 billion tons. But not just that, this same team also decided that it had a mass loss of around 300 pounds per second. So definitely some interesting numerology there. But if you search up Abraham Loeb or Avi Loeb, you get that he's an Israeli and American theoretical physicist who works on astrophysics and cosmology. He's also a professor of science at Harvard University. So just some basic stuff. It's not going to show you everything he's connected to by just searching his name. But if you were to search Abraham Loeb World Economic Forum, that's where things get a little bit more interesting. Well, would you look at that? He is an agenda contributor for the World Economic Forum. I bet he is. I bet he is. So the man who has people believing that the 3I Atlas is a UFO with aliens on board, and again, the interesting numerology, is an agenda contributor with the World Economic Forum. And well, what agenda does the World Economic Forum, including the United Nations, currently have? They have the 2030 Agenda, the Transforming Our World, the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development, multiple policies for all these countries around the world to follow. A one world government. And how would you get all these countries around the world to follow one law, one policy?
Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
So all these people out here pushing out videos talking about how the 3I Atlas is a UFO and it's doing all these weird things, making other people believe that it's a UFO, well, unbeknownst to them, or maybe they know, that they're actually, at the end of the day, pushing along the World Economic Forum agenda. Then you'll have some people say, well, you can take a telescope and you can see it. It doesn't look like a normal comet. It looks like some kind of ship. But we don't know what's truly up there or what was put up there. Does anybody remember those news articles that came out about Earth supposedly having a second moon? And news and media told us that it was exactly 33 feet long. That's how I knew something was suspicious then. I mean, come on. Come on, the Earth's second moon is 33 feet and the 3I Atlas is 33 billion tons. What are the odds? And I even said when I made a video on it back then that it's possibly some kind of projector to produce images. Again, we truly don't know, but what I do know is when all roads lead to the World Economic Forum, lies will unfold, agendas will unfold. I do not trust NASA one bit, but I especially do not trust the World Economic Forum, even more so given the fact that the new leadership is worse than the old leadership, run by the water man that wants to control all the water, and the BlackRock man that wants to have a cashless society and have everything be digital. So, no, I don't trust anything that comes out of there. And when we talk about Project Bluebeam, this false stage alien invasion, a lot of people believe that when you talk about Project Bluebeam, you believe that these entities are not real, these creatures are not real, and that wouldn't be the case whatsoever. What something like Project Bluebeam exposes is the lie that these things come from space, they come from another planet, when that's not the case whatsoever. The things that will be used on humanity are things that have already been here, things that have been created in a lab, things, deep underground military bases, these hybrids, these chimeras that they did say they are indeed making, and also real entities that have always been here, these fallen ones. So there will indeed be real entities used in a false stage alien invasion. They're just not coming from the planet 33. And now he's pushing out the fact that this wow signal that happened back in 1977, where a lot of researchers believe that this could be extraterrestrial in origin, maybe coming from the 3I Atlas. So we can see what's on here.
They realized that back on August 15th, 1977, there was a very famous flare in the radio signal that was given the name the wow signal because the observers that recorded it at the Ohio State University was stunned at how powerful this signal was. And I checked it. Turns out that it came from about the same direction in the sky as 3I Atlas, within 9 degrees. And the chance for a random alignment of the two directions of 9 degrees or so is 0.6%. And there was no report on radio observations of 3I Atlas so far. So I'm encouraging radio astronomers around the world to check out whether there is any radio transmission from 3I Atlas.
Then, suspiciously enough, after Avi Loeb says we need to check the 3I Atlas radio signals, now these videos are coming out that apparently they found radio pulses coming from 3I Atlas, yet the live feed was shut down.
Okay, I'm not even sure if I'm supposed to be posting this right now, but I just heard something, and it's not a theory anymore. They said it came from one of the deep space channels monitoring 3I Atlas, and what it transmitted, it wasn't background noise. They picked up an encoded pulse, repeating every 47 seconds, the same pattern used in low-frequency military orders. Then a secondary signal, like a reply, bounced back from our atmosphere. That's when one of the analysts said the word simulation. And then the feed just cut. Now, I don't know if this was staged, faked, or part of Project Bluebeam, but if it's real, that means something is already active. And here's the part that freaked me out. 3I Atlas hit solar perihelion this week, exactly the moment the pulse peaked. You can call it coincidence. I can't. I don't care if this video gets buried or flagged. Just remember this. When they tell you to look up, don't. Because the show in the sky might not be from above, it might be from here. They want us watching the sky, so we stop watching them. Stay alert, stay aware, in spite of the illusion, see through it.
This morning, we have a report that the object got much brighter than expected, and moreover, the color of the object is blue, bluer than the sun. And that's very surprising, because usually when there is dust around an object, it should make it red.
I should also say that the news yesterday was that this object came closest to the sun and it received a huge amount of heat from the sun. And the latest report indicates that it became extremely bright, much more than expected for familiar comets.
Right now, an object more than 5 trillion miles from Earth is moving through interstellar space at 93,000 miles per hour. And new data from China's large Sky Area Multi-Object Fiber, spectroscopic telescope has revealed something no one expected. The readings suggest that 3I Atlas, once thought to be a harmless interstellar visitor, is emitting a spectral signature that defies every known model of cometary behavior. If the data holds true, it could force astronomers to rewrite our understanding of what drifts between the stars. At the edge of the solar system, more than 4 billion miles from the sun, a faint glimmer of reflected light betrayed the presence of something unexpected. The object was small, less than a kilometer across, yet it cut through the darkness with a precision that defied the quiet chaos of the Kuiper Belt. Its designation would soon echo through the halls of observatories around the World 3I Atlas, the third known interstellar traveler to enter our cosmic neighborhood. At first, it was dismissed as routine, a frozen wanderer from another system, shaped by gravity and time. The first two interstellar objects, Oumuamua and Borisov, had already familiarized astronomers with the concept of cosmic visitors, relics of ancient planetary systems flung into the void. Yet as telescopes turned their mirrors toward 3I Atlas, something in its light began to whisper a different story. China's Large Sky Area Multi-Object Fiber Spectroscopic Telescope, known as LAMOST, collected its light for 72 continuous hours. The resulting data revealed a spectral curve unlike anything in the catalogue of known comets. Where typical interstellar bodies scatter sunlight, producing clear compositional signatures of water ice, silicates or hydrocarbons, 3I Atlas did something else entirely. It absorbed. Its reflectivity was abnormally low, a negative albedo shift so severe that at certain wavelengths it appeared to swallow light completely. To astrophysicists, this was an anomaly that resisted every model. No ordinary ice crust could create such absorption. No known dust mixture matched the reading. Even after atmospheric corrections and data reprocessing, the numbers held this object was darker than coal, yet emitted faint, structured bursts of infrared energy, as though something within was still radiating heat. Was it a product of cosmic radiation, the breakdown of exotic ices, or something that couldn't be explained through chemistry alone? Theorists proposed metallic grains aligned in microscopic order, perhaps nanostructures formed under conditions alien to our star's influence. Others quietly speculated it could be a fragment, an engineered remnant, scarred by aeons of interstellar drift. As more data came in, the trajectory of 3I Atlas began to tell another story. It wasn't moving randomly. Its vector, while consistent with gravitational pull, showed subtle corrections. Adjustments invisible at first glance, but statistically present in every observation. The object's momentum curve, though faint, hinted at stability, almost like something maintaining equilibrium. The international community hesitated. To call it artificial would be heresy to established science. To ignore the readings would be to deny what the instruments had seen. And so, in quiet laboratories and encrypted data channels, researchers began comparing notes, looking for a pattern that could reconcile physics with the impossible. Every measurement brought them closer to a realization too large to articulate. Perhaps not everything entering our solar system is a product of chance. Perhaps some things are sent. The night before the next round of observations, LAMOST's array logged a faint secondary signal, a rhythm.
Everyone needs to get ready because we have very new information about Atlas 3I. Scientists were already perplexed when it was shooting a jet stream into our sun. After it went around the sun, they thought it was going to start leaving. They thought it was going to be going out of our solar system, not closer into Earth. Then a very interesting event happened that has scientists baffled. They cannot explain why. And hear me out. Because now the latest images and videos from these deep space telescopes show that Atlas 3I is brightening. It's literally getting brighter, which means there is a temperature increase or some kind of fusion that would make it produce more light than it already was. And the reason that is so interesting and peculiar is for other Oort cloud comets, they never just brighten up like that. Now keep in mind, this is one of only 3 interstellar comets that we've ever had on record. So this is a big deal. What does this brightness mean? Is it signaling to us? everyone needs to get ready because we have very new information about Atlas 3I. Scientists were already perplexed when it was shooting a jet stream into our sun. After it went around the sun, they thought it was going to start leaving. They thought it was going to be going out of our solar system, not closer into Earth. Then a very interesting event happened that has scientists baffled. They cannot explain why. And hear me out. Because now the latest images and videos from these deep space telescopes show that Atlas 3I is brightening. It's literally getting brighter, which means there is a temperature increase or some kind of fusion that would make it produce more light than it already was. And the reason that is so interesting and peculiar is for other Oort cloud comets, they never just brighten up like that. Now keep in mind, this is one of only 3 interstellar comets that we've ever had on record. So this is a big deal. What does this brightness mean? Is it signaling to us?
Okay, I want to talk about 3I Atlas and it turning blue and why that is potentially a big deal. Disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes, and I am not anything. I'm not a scientist, I'm not anything, but this is for funsy and conspiracy theorists only. Okay, so recently, astronomers and scientists have came out and say that 3I Atlas has turned a striking blue color, which is abnormal for a comet. It is rare, okay, which is fun in itself. Rare things are fun, right? Okay. But why this is insane for someone like me, I've been studying something called their cycles, and I'm not going to say the name. If you want to know more, go to my page. I've made multiple videos about this, and they seem to not do so well. So I'm not going to say the name because I don't want this video to get hidden. But it's these cycles, right? And in this book, highly recommend this book. There is a passage in it that I want to share with you guys. It's a really quick one. It is about the Hopi people's legends about the blue star Kachina. And so, quick rundown of the legend. This is going to be a very quick synapse. If you want more information, go do your own research on this. I know there's videos on TikTok because I've seen them. But basically, the Hopi people legend states that we are living in the fourth world. There has been 3 prior worlds. Each of them had success and falls, and then beginnings of the new world. So we're in the fourth world and have been for quite some time, according to this prophecy, this legend from these Hopi people, these tribes. So basically, in the fourth world, we know that the fourth world is coming to an end when these 9 signs come to fruition, come to life. So all of the signs have become actualized except for the last and final sign of the end of the fourth world. The last and final sign: you will hear of a dwelling house in our heavens above the earth that shall fall with a great crash. It will appear as a blue star. Very soon after this, the ceremonies of my people will cease. That is the prophecy of the Hopi people, of the blue Kachina star. And now the 3I Atlas is now turned this blue striking color. That's crazy. That is insane. The correlations are insane. And what's crazy is I've been making videos saying that 3I Atlas aligns perfectly with the YCs, the cycles. It aligns perfectly, as does the astrology, and same thing with this Hopi legend and many other legends, which this book talks about if you're interested. Let me know what you guys think. Regardless, I think 3I Atlas is exciting, regardless if it's a comet or a spaceship or anything else. I think it's exciting, and I'm having a lot of fun watching it and talking about it and hypothesizing about it. Let me know what you guys think.
Y'all, You know, when you listen to these people, always use your own discernment, you know, because they're going to say a lot of things that actually is not factual at all. It couldn't possibly be because they've never encountered anything like this before. So when they talk, because these folks tend to talk with a certainty, and there's no way they're getting all this information. The government is shut down. Even China has switched off their cameras. So whatever it is, it's scaring people enough where they don't even want to look at it. So that's pretty frightening. So everybody, let me do my thank yous. Thank you, Eagle Champ, once again for your super sticker and support for my channel. And Jeffrey Mentor, thank you for your super chat. Their amazement at this spectacle will soon turn to fear because of what they did to the Most High's apple of his eye. You ain't never lie. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. And thank you for your support for my channel. So y'all, I'm going to conclude. This is going to be my final one. I did have another one, but my throat is sore. So I'm going to rest my throat, and I'll be back tomorrow with more live streams and videos. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening and night. Shalom, family.
Yeah, so it's not a damn comet, y'all. It's something completely else. And they're not telling us what it is. They're keeping it classified under wraps. But we have our own satellites and telescopes now, so people can really look at this thing and see it's not a comet. So whatever the government, whatever NASA, whatever they're saying is bullshit. But we'll keep y'all updated on that. And other news, there's been more sightings of UFOs and USOs off America's coastlines and under the sea and the oceans like the Atlantic and the Pacific. So, Lisa's gonna give us an update on that as well. But everybody must be asleep. It's super early in the morning.
Shalom, family. Good to see you all here. Good morning. Hope you're doing well, or grand rising. Listen, the news outlets are now posting, and I'm going to show you some of the articles that are coming out, like from Newsweek, Fox, New York Post, and even the Indian Times, all reporting objects, thousands of them, being reported not only around the world, but the vast majority of them are here in the U.S. They seem to be around the coast of the U.S. And I'll show you the map in one of my videos. And these are recent articles. These are articles that came out at the very end of October, November 1st, November 2nd. And it's not only in the sky. The Coast Guard is reporting objects under the water. When they're out on the water in their boats, these objects are following them, or they see them passing by them in the water, and they have green glows. And they have reported more than 9,000 of these green glows that they're seeing in the water. So, am I surprised? No, I think this is part of the reason why the government is shut down. Why they won't tell the American people what's going on, I don't know. But the fact that they have ran to military bases for cover That says, that is something that speaks volumes right now. But these sightings are increasing, and they are actually picking this up on monitors. All of this is being monitored, and they're picking all these objects up. So it's not just people saying it. They're actually seeing these on telescopes and other things that they use to monitor the sky. So they are physically seeing this, all this activity that has been picking up recently. It goes back to when we were hearing about all the drones up in the air. People were seeing these car-sized drones and everything, and they never really cleared the air about that either. So now what?
That's how we.
That these objects are up there.
All of those goddamn drones.
And the ones under the water following the Coast Guard.
I don't explain none of that.
So I'm going to let you listen to some of the videos I've had, but I'm going to also put on the screen some of the recent articles. Let me do that right now so you can see this. Okay, let me see. This is from Newsweek. Now, up here, I can tell you in the Northeast, it's a lot of them. It's a lot up here around the Northeast, all up and down the East Coast. Also, all up and down the coast on the West Coast. They are virtually everywhere. So, mysterious UFO spotted along U.S. coast. Now, this came out October 27th, 2025, and this is Newsweek. And they got one of the objects right here where you can see it, like a bluish glow. So I don't want to see Donald Trump's mug. He's just whining because he lost. All right. Let's see. There is more. This one is the Washington Post. All right. So they said this has been going on. They can even take it back to the 50s, before satellites was even a big thing up in the sky. They have photographs going all the way back to the 50s, thousands of them, where people spotted these objects up in the sky and took pictures. And this article came out November 1st, 2025, and it's talking about the ones that they're seeing now. Right. So before we go on to more articles, we're going to look at a interview out of Chicago, Fox 32 Chicago, where they actually interview a scientist on this, and we're going to watch it. And he says some pretty interesting things in here. Boy, I tell you, it seems like ever since we seen the chatter has been going crazy over a 3-eye atlas. It's so many things happening that we are never hearing about. If you don't really look for this stuff, you won't find it. But, yes, there's other branches of the military that have seen these. Look, I told y'all about an object the U.S. Navy was flying up in the sky, spotted. They tried to throw a Hellfire missile on it, and it bounced right off of it. It bounced right off of this object. And you can even hear the pilot say, "What the hell?" Yeah, So the Navy definitely have had many sightings and recorded many sightings up in the sky. But, many branches of the military have seen these objects. All right, let's watch this interview here. Please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
UFO expert to talk a little bit more about what's been going on. It has so many people talking, Alejandro.
Exciting topic.
Oh boy. All right. So I'm seeing here that there is a popular UFO reporting app that you have that records these thousands of sightings. What are we seeing?
Yeah, so we've got this app, take reports, and we're getting hundreds of reports a week. The majority of these reports, I look at the videos and kind of analyze those because I've got a history of experience doing this. The majority are mistaken identity, but there are those that are really we don't know what they are. And we kind of take a stance, or we agree with NASA or the government that really we need to start collecting data, analyzing this data to figure out what's going on. These cases are really mysterious. So what we've been doing now that we've got, historically about 300,000 cases in our that you can look at, but we've collected ourselves in the last years over 40,000 reports. So we're group those into collections and then look at some of the characteristics of these different groups. And the latest group we're looking at are underwater UFOs, commonly referred to as unidentified submerged objects, or USOs, which is kind of a set of UAPs. And we found some really interesting accounts. We've got a couple interesting videos, one off the coast of Florida, one off of Mexico, and we've got a lot of great, including off the East Coast, and even one closer to you all in Mystikal there.
Oh.
Again.
Oh my. Okay, so I have to ask you, I remember there was like a congressional hearing on UFOs or UFEs. Did USOs come up in that? I don't remember this term USOs before.
Yeah, it is not as commonly known, but it did come up. In fact, there's a former Admiral, Tim Gallaudet, who addressed this in those hearings. And he did talk about, cases where it's been reported that things move quickly underwater. Referenced an unconfirmed project called Fast Movers, where actually kind of a code name they've given these up. I don't know for sure that that's been done. There's been other reports kind of saying that the Navy just collects these reports, they get them, but they don't really pay attention to them, which makes it difficult to then analyze reports. So yeah, it is a thing that does happen, come up in the hearings.
So I'm seeing that U.S. Navy officials warn that this could pose a threat to national security. How so?
Yeah, Tim Gallaudet in particular. So some of these cases get mixed up with like drones. So for instance, there's a couple of cases in 2018 that came out. One from USS Omaha, one from the USS Russell, where videos taken of multiple objects over these boats. So what are those? These guys in the middle of the ocean. What's going on? Why are they happening? Now they've determined those are likely drone swarms. But why this is important, because some of this they're alluding to is potentially Chinese technology, where the Chinese are looking at launching drones from submarines. It's obviously an issue. When it comes to objects that are a little more difficult to explain, such as very fast-moving objects under the water, some people that have reported some of these things are, right off the coast of Mexico or in places with a lot of commercial boats and that sort of thing. So, anything running into something or something coming up that's submerged and runs into a private, boat, something like that, that's where they're safety concern. And of course, when it comes to national security, one of the big arguments, especially with drones, right, that we've had a blind eye to them. We really and taking a close look at the advancements of the technologies and the utilization that our enemies may be using to observe. An example is these U.S. boats being caught off guard and these drones flying above them. You know, we need to have some real tactics. We need to be able to deal with that to ensure this of our sailors. So to make sure that the Chinese aren't gathering the, intelligence we don't want them to get.
So I see that the states with the most reportings, this is no big surprise, California and Florida. But tell me more about what was discovered close to us.
Yeah, close to you. So there was a report on October 23rd, in October of 2023 in Mystikal. And this was someone who says their car kind of broke down by the water. And they looked out in the water and they saw this bright beam of light coming out of the water that they watched for a period of time before it disappeared. So that's highly mysterious. What would be beaming a bright beam light into the sky? They had a video, but they can't really tell because really, with our phone, they're made to get pictures of friends and stuff like that. So they're limited in their ability to capture objects at a distance, especially at night. The video didn't really turn out. You can't really make anything out, but an incredible account from this witness.
So how did we go from, I'm sure at some point, you said USOs and people were like, to really being taken seriously?
I think there's a couple of things. So it's been a very interesting subset. Even scientists have been interested because it's a little harder to move underwater. So for instance, we have a report, one of these videos from Mexico where the witnesses say this object went about 5 miles in minutes underwater. That's technology, that we don't have. Like, we don't have anything that can move that fast. So that makes that curious and really piques people's interest and science as well. So if this is happening and there's these fast things under the water, what is propelling them? How are they doing that? There are technologies with our highly advanced missile systems that can do sort of extremely fast movements. But if that's it, are we observing technology from foreign enemies that they're testing, or is this something else? That's what gets people really curious. I think what gets people curious now is that we've got this collection. Now, Enigma, we've been collecting these reports. We have more reports to look at because really historically, there haven't been a lot of reports to look at. I need data gathered to figure out more about what's going on here. So it's exciting to get more data. I think that's what's important, is to keep gathering that data so that researchers can start to figure something out. And I think it's kind of like SETI, where you gather this data and maybe you don't have that smoking gun to say that something truly anomalous is going on, but we've got so much anecdotal information that something weird is happening that it's good to have that data just in case, and if we do get that case where we're able to demonstrably show that something anomalous has happened, obviously really important. And I think the popularity of this story shows that it piques people's interest.
Well, that is true. People's interests have been piqued for sure. Thank you so much for your time and sharing a bit of this mysterious data with us. And thank you for what you do with Enigma. Hopefully, by putting it all together one day, our minds will really fully understand all of this.
That's what I hope. Using scientific method, we can figure this out.
Thanks so much. Take care.
Thank you.
No, what these folks are afraid of is being overtaken by whatever these things are. That's what the concern is, and that's what the fear is, because, let's face it, these folks have done a lot of harm on this earth, and they fear retribution. And they're afraid it may be here now. This is why they're running to military bases and believing that being there and being able to go down in a bunker, they'll be safe. And we know they ain't going to be safe no matter where they go. Let's see here. Okay, hold on. Share. All right, so this is another one that came out on Fox. UFO tracker maps eerie clusters of unidentified objects lurking beneath U.S. shorelines. We're being lied to. Yes, it's a lot of information I believe this government has, and they won't tell the people what's going on. You know, they're not telling people what's happening. So this is another one that came out November 1st, 2025. All right. So now we're going to look at a few things from TikTok. Yeah. Okay, so we're going to look at this one from TikTok. And here is the US map of all the reports of sightings that have been going on recently. And you can see the map is, you know, in red. The red spots are where people, you know, saw things up in the sky. So, y'all, please give me a 1 if you can see my screen. Thank you.
So this is the current map of all UFO sightings that are reported, and this is current as of today. Can someone explain why there is so much more activity in the U.S. than everywhere else? Yeah.
Over recent days, it's been happening over several weeks. Congressman, good to have you with us. The White House not ruling out anything, not giving us any answers. Neither did this hearing that we just heard some questions in. What is going on here, and when can people expect to get some answers from our leaders?
They should have had them immediately. Last night I was on the beach with Sheriff Mastronardi, and he's doing a magnificent job in trying to ascertain a threat for this. He's the Ocean County Sheriff. Sean Golden's doing the same thing in Monmouth County. So I was there on the beach, and I talked to several people, including a commander for the Coast Guard, who told me that the night before, I was there last night, so 2 nights ago, one of their 47-foot vessels, boats, was trailed very closely by more than a dozen of these drones. Now that, to me, is very, very not just suspicious, provocative, and this could be a foreign power, whether it be Putin, or whether it be Xi Jinping in China, or the Middle East. We can't rule any of that out.
Yeah, this is incredible. So
incredible.
A United States Coast Guard boat testified to you that 12 drones were following it in the water in the Atlantic Ocean. Did they tell you anything about the size, what they look like? Were they able to get images? How close were they?
You know, they're pretty large, and they weren't far off the stern. So it's very, very troubling. I called the Joint Base and talked to the commanding officer there and asked, we know we have the capability within DOD to ascertain where it's coming from, even bring it down, and they have it, but they don't have the, quote, authority to do it.
What,
so
from who? See, this is the question, Congressman. So when you're out over the ocean and you have 12 of them out there, I think, it's a very reasonable question. Why weren't one of those drones trailing the Coast Guard ship shot down over the ocean and grabbed and checked out?
Well, again, the capability to do that in a way that could retrieve what it is and who's doing it, it resides within the DOD. They have it. I've asked the commanding officer to get that authority. I've written Lloyd Austin to ask him to give that authority. I mean, this could be the beginning of something, or it could be nothing. Who knows? But how dare they allow us to live? I just listened to the White House spokeswoman.
Say nothing.
They got nothing to tell us.
Unbelievable.
And we have the capability. And the night before, I was there last night till late. The night before, one of our police officers, again working for Sheriff Mastronardi, chronicled 50 coming from the ocean onto land. 50.
This is
I mean, this is really serious stuff.
It's insane. It's like a sci-fi movie, and it could be a hoax, but it's so large, the number of them.
There's probably a ship that
it's a foreign entity. It's something that the U.S. knows and understands, or it's some kind of massive hoax with lots of people involved. But whatever it is, we absolutely have to know. So, this lack of answers is absolutely
Martha, there's
really
no way it's a hoax. We have foreign powers, especially China, Putin, Russia. And
we already, we watched the balloon go across and didn't shoot it down until it was well out over the ocean. So let's hope we can get it right this time. It's already very late in that process. Unbelievable. I had one, go over my house, and it's a strange feeling. So
we'll let you know what we hear from DOD, because they should give that authority today.
Well,
Bro, something's going down in America along the coastline. There is a UFO UAP tracker called Enigma. It has just tracked thousands and thousands of USOs, which stands for unidentified submerged objects, all along the coast. I'll put a picture up of all the spots. All along the coast, they're seeing these humongous green lights floating and coming from below the surface, right? Sometimes these green lights are bigger than fucking cities. Just the lights themselves, okay? I'm gonna show you the video. I'll come back at the end.
Dive boat, that's really dangerous. What did you make of it when you saw this?
Exactly that. I mean, I'm a master diver. There's nobody around there with a dive boat, with a dive flag, anything like that. I like to dive at night. Some people go lobster diving. It is still possible. This particular one, we haven't had time even to get out there to go check this out in the field. But you start looking at, the number of sightings that people are having in these locations, and putting it all together, it just doesn't make sense that so many people, are unable to, I don't know. The UFO thing has been, always people focusing in the sky, right? And so it's kind of like now that we're shifting to USOs, a lot of people are wondering if this is a new phenomenon or not, and it really is not.
No, and it really is not new. We've been getting so many reports of people seeing things flying in and out of the water, going down, not coming back up, submerging. Some things start off in the sky and then go into the water. We've been hearing about it for decades. For decades, people are just so used to seeing things coming in from the sky, especially now with the orbs and the drones and things like that. But this has been happening for decades. For decades. Did y'all see that green light? It went all the way down. If y'all remember, I think it was a few weeks ago, we saw the same type of green light in the sky in San Diego. Remember that girl? Someone's like, oh, it has to do with lightning. Even the guy on the thing said it isn't. Then there's like, oh, these are divers. No, they're not. These spots, these green lights are bigger than houses. Stop gaslighting, motherfuckers. No, because y'all are always trying to say something is something loud and wrong every time. Okay? But y'all, it's getting real fucking close to November. So yeah, let me know if y'all seen these lights in the water.
Are these UFOs? Are they a government thing? Like, what are they?
It's really low.
I know it is.
You gotta follow it. There's another one up there.
Oh, crap.
Chrissy and her kids took this video when they saw flashing lights that moved away after they spotted them.
Well, it obviously sees me. I gotta pretend like I'm actually driving. Watched both of them. So now there's 4.
They started seeing the lights over the summer, and now it's a nightly thing.
They would come and kind of like hover, and then we would go outside, and then they would leave.
About 1,000 miles away in New York and New Jersey, this is what people are seeing in the skies. Eyewitnesses say they look like SUV-sized drones, and those sightings now have even the White House's attention.
Obviously, this is something that DHS and FBI are tracking very, very closely.
Well, I don't want it to come closer.
As for what Chrissy and her mother, Deborah, keep seeing here in Minnesota, well, they don't know.
Right now, just the unknown is driving us crazy and making us mad.
Oh, that's weird. What the fuck? No es marino. Go run, go run. Yo, what the fuck? Go run. Yo, that shit weird. Go over it, go over it. Nah, don't go over it. So, did we hit that shit? When we get stuck on top of that shit? And oh, that shit's brighter. It's getting brighter, yeah. They're pointing around like this. Yo, that shit's crazy. You're like a tornado or something. I don't see nothing. I just see like a flashlight. Oh, and it's moving up. There's somebody there, bro. It's like a light. I think it's a light. It's a flash. It's like a flashlight. There's two. Let's go to that one. Let's take that one over there. Because that one over there just cut off and then it turned back on. It looks like a flashlight. It can't be a submarine, though. Not that long, man. Hell no.
There are confirmed reports of the US Coast Guard seeing these things coming out of the Atlantic Ocean. That is the latest news. At least 50 drones were witnessed coming out of the Atlantic Ocean and then subsequently following, shadowing the Coast Guard and then going onto the mainland, then coming back and then going below the horizon of the Atlantic Ocean again. So do with that information what you will. There are also unconfirmed reports that they're not in fact drones, but actually orbs. Again, I'm getting orbs coming up quite a lot again from certain news outlets, as well as the podcast Redacted that got sent some images with regards to the incursions going on over New Jersey right now and neighboring states. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting seeing how these guys are dealing with this. There's a lot of frustration in New Jersey. You know, obviously the New Jersey mayor, Governor more like, has said that, you know, it's not a direct threat. But what he did say, which was very interesting, is that whenever we get close to these things, they go dark, which means they either disappear off radar or they disappear visually. We don't have drones that do that. And of course, why would drones do that with lights on them in the first place? These are ongoing. Obviously, we've done quite a lot of videos on this now.
New York Post just reported that there's thousands of USO sightings happening off coastlines, right? Thousands of unidentified submerged objects, USOs, are lurking off American coastlines and beyond, right? So on the Enigma app, there are thousands upon thousands, like 30,000 in total so far sightings that people have logged on the app. And it's about a 50-50 split of things being seen over land and then things coming out of the ocean. And more often than not, people see strange things coming in and out of the ocean. Now, a major thing we are experiencing right now is unexplainable lights underwaters, right? And this isn't just from civilian, this is from military to Navy to civilian as well. Seeing green lights either appearing, descending in and out of the water, or basically staying under the water, moving around unexplainably, and then darting off at ridiculous speeds. And this has been reported for the longest time. And also, none of this stuff picks up on any radar, right? Fishermen as well, and there's so many pieces of footage of this sort of strange phenomena happening, and it usually coincides around earthquakes, hurricanes, and sort of like major disaster events, or even solar activity. We've had a major geomagnetic storm. Again, we get an influx of plasmoids or things in the ocean. So, yes, very strange to say the least, and the amount of stuff that he's picking up at the minute is very significant. What do you guys think? You let me know down below. 3 Minneapolis police officers reported observing a spherical UAP made up of 6 interlocking rings of colored lights hovering at 10,000 feet. The object moved with both slow and hypersonic acceleration before rapidly relocating north. And this was shot through a pair of binoculars, and this is a photo that they shot as well, which is absolutely insane. This doesn't appear on flight radar. There's no flight data on this object, and this comes as a report from Finland yesterday, seeing the same object at 35,000 feet. I don't know about you, but that sounds pretty damn biblical to me, wouldn't you say? 6 colourful interlocking rings. Witnessed by 3 officers, passers-by, making no noise, no flight data, with no questions or answers to what this object could have been. And look at the state of that, bruv. Again, was reported by pilots in Finland the day before at an altitude of 5,000.
Keep your eyes peeled for all domain anomalies, ADAs, because apparently these mysterious objects aren't just flying anymore. They are up, they are down, they are even in the ocean. Seems thousands of the unidentified objects are reported every year, not spotted in the sky, but instead spotted in the water. Since 2022, an app called Enigma has tracked more than 9,000 water-based sightings within 10 miles of U.S. coasts, and they're plotted on these maps. The anomalies were shooting out of the water, or they were hovering over the water, or they were diving into the water, and get this, usually without making a splash. Okay, Ben, the video that we were just looking at, my first thought was, that's got to be divers, right? It's got to be divers with those neon lights. And then I thought, no, not at night without a dive boat. That's really dangerous. What did you make of it when you saw this?
Exactly that. I mean, I'm a master diver. There's nobody around there with a dive boat, with a dive flag, anything like that. I like to dive at night. Some people go lobster diving. It is still possible. This particular one, we haven't had time even to get out there to go check this out in the field. But you start looking at, you know, the number of sightings that people are having in these locations, and you know, putting it all together, it just doesn't make sense that so many people, you know, are unable to. I don't know. The UFO thing has been, you know, always people focusing in the sky, right? And so it's kind of like now that we're shifting to USOs, a lot of people are wondering if this is a new phenomenon or not, and it really is not. You know, it's the submerged objects have been since the beginning. You know, when we started reporting, remember we had these pilots that were seeing them in the water off of Catalina. And air traffic controllers were telling us that pilots were witnessing this glow, sometimes the size of a city. You know, and so here you have this Fort Lauderdale case. It's a lot smaller, but you know, it's really hard to say whether we're looking at a natural phenomena. It's definitely not like phosphorus and algae. It's nothing like that, and it definitely doesn't explain how people are seeing the objects come up out of the water and zip out, and these huge like flaps have been going on for decades.
There's an app, and it's called Enigma, where anyone can post sightings of UFOs and even underwater submersible objects, USOs. And recently, it's come out that they've documented over thousands of sightings of USOs along the United States coast. Well, take a look at these next 2 videos, because it shows witnesses encountering the first one coming out of Florida, this unidentified object in the water, and it's not scuba divers. But then take a look at that second video. That one was actually captured in San Diego, California. And this witness captures something truly out of this world. And does it have a tentacle? What was it? Take a look at these next 2 videos. Comment below. Tell me what you think.
Whoa, that's weird. What the fuck? What is that? Oh. Es un marino. Go around it. Go around it. Voy a pasar para allá. Yo, what the fuck? Go around it, man. Yo, that shit weird. Go over it. Go over it. Nah, don't go over it. Because if we hit that shit and we get stuck on top of that bitch, and it keeps, oh, that shit's brighter. It's getting brighter, yeah. They're pointing around like this. Yo, that shit's crazy. You're like a tornado or something. I don't see nothing. I just see like a flashlight. Oh, and it's moving up. There's somebody there, bro. It's like a light. I think it's a light. It's a flash. It's like a flashlight. Pero mira, ahí no. It's that look. There's two. Let's go to that one, Monty. Let's check that one over there. Because that one over there just cut off and then it turned back on. It looked like a flashlight. It can't be a submarine though, not that long, man. Hell no. Those are aliens, bro.
Hey guys, Dabu7. It looks like we've got some kind of phenomenon going on off the east coast of the United States. I'm going to say it's happening worldwide. This stuff has been going on forever. Call it a UFO, call it a UAP. This website that tracks all these sightings, so to speak, is saying there's a massive uptick off the east coast of the U.S. You can see in the image in the center on the bottom, a lot of the reports coming in. U.S. Navy officials warning that this could pose a threat to national security. We have Congress on the record here recently, not only showing us hitting a UFO with a Hellfire missile and blowing it into pieces, and those pieces staying with the aircraft, but they've also said that these underwater UFOs, so to speak, are moving at like hundreds and thousands of miles an hour, like insane speeds that should not be possible per the science that we know. Well, we're not being told everything. That's pretty clear. And they're obviously operating with some technology and some knowledge that we don't have and we're not working with. Tucker Carlson came out and told all the millions that watch him in a form of soft disclosure that they are here. If you missed it, he said it. Broadcast this nationwide, worldwide, and told everybody listening they're here, and they're on the ocean floor, and they're inside this planet. Okay? So this disclosure isn't going to be what everybody thinks it's going to be, for whatever reason, thinks what Trump's going to come out and give some big statement on TV. Like, that's what they need to accept this or something. Maybe they do. They've got to reel in some of the rest of the crowd. But I'm going to tell you right now, soft disclosure's been happening. They've shown us more evidence than they ever have this year. And you've got this documentary dropping on the 21st that I'm telling you now, it's going to be loaded with a bunch of the rest. They're here. I've told you this the entire time. The fallen have always been here. It's not a secret. It's right there in your Bible. They came here. They were supposed to watch over the place, and they defiled mankind. They came into our women. They bore giants called Nephilim, and they had to wipe this place out because of it. Now we're all locked here. They're still here. I'm telling you. So whoever's coming down the hallway through the cosmos, so to speak, toward us, there's a chance it could be the good guys out there. And they would turn the whole world against them, of course, and say it's baddies. When the baddies are here, dude. See. Join me for the live stream going live Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, talking about this in a whole lot more in greater detail. Hope to see you
Hey,
there.
B1 salute.
Much love.
Glad you tapping in. Going over to Europe.
New data revealing Washington state is the best place to be to get a chance at seeing extraterrestrial life.
Here to break it down, former UK Ministry of Defense and UFO expert Nick Pope. Nick, Washington 1, Oregon 2, Pacific Northwest seems to be where these aliens like to go, but I'm sure there's a better reason. What is it?
Well, I think there are a lot of variables here, and I think it might have something to do with the sort of outdoorsy nature of those states up in the Northwest. You know, big, clear, open skies, a lot of people out hiking, sky watching. So more people out looking around at things, more things get seen.
Yeah, Nick, you know, I think if someone said, I believe that aliens are walking around among us, I believe that there's UFOs in our airspace, a lot of people would say, you're crazy. What do you think?
Well, I think this subject has come out of the fringe and into the mainstream recently. I mean, we have hearings in Congress about this now. We have the newly formed task force on the declassification of federal secrets. They're going to be looking at UFOs. And of course, just very recently, the vice president made some fairly open-minded comments about this in a situation where this subject used to be an absolute third rail for politicians.
Yeah, J.D. Vance, literally to your point, coming out and saying, I have to, as vice president, help get to the bottom of this. I have to imagine that definitely removes the stigma about saying, hey, I saw something, I'm going to say something. Speaking of something, this could be something. Interstellar visitor 3I Atlas making a mysterious move toward the sun in what people are calling a cosmic turning point. Those people could have just been our producers, but I'm going to say it anyway. The expectation is that this thing should break up when it goes to the sun, because the sun, as we know, very, very hot. Things go near it, they break up. But if it remains intact and moves away from the sun, that could be a sign of extraterrestrial intelligence. What do you think it's going to do, Nick?
Well, you know, the simplest explanation is that it probably will turn out to be an interstellar comet. Hugely interesting in its own right, of course. But yeah, I'm watching this story very closely. If it does do anything really unusual, and it proves to be technological, it will be the biggest story in history. But if nothing else, look, this has got everyone thinking about this as a possibility. And that ties in, as I say, with the fact that this whole subject is now viewed not as kind of conspiracy theory or science fiction, but as a serious defense and national security issue.
Yeah, there is a debate taking place right now within the scientific community over this thing, 3I Atlas. Some people say it's a comet. Other people think it's something else. They think it could be a spaceship. Why do some people think it's that?
Well, I think there are some unusual things about its speed, its trajectory, the fact that comets usually have a tail pointing away from the sun as they approach. This one had a sort of anti-tail. But, you know, if we were sending a probe to another solar system, this is kind of probably exactly what we would do, a close flyby of the planets and then see what happens.
Oh.
So, yeah, I'm watching very closely.
I think you said the key thing, though. If this story turns out to be not just a piece of space junk that's going to burn up and it turns into something, it will be the greatest story, biggest story of our lifetime. And Rick, we're sure to have you back. We will book you again.
Yes.
If it becomes
Don't do any
a
other shows.
Yeah, right. This is
the
our
one
show.
if this thing happens.
Former UK Ministry of Defense and UFO expert Nick Pope. Thanks, sir.
Appreciate it.
Hi guys, just the latest report on what's going on. So they've had an emergency briefing in Congress about these drones. One Congress member has stated that there are confirmed reports of the US Coast Guard seeing these things coming out of the Atlantic Ocean. That is the latest news. At least 50 drones were witnessed coming out of the Atlantic Ocean and then subsequently following, shadowing the Coast Guard and then going onto the mainland, then coming back and then going below the horizon of the Atlantic Ocean again. So do with that information what you will. There are also unconfirmed reports that they're not in fact drones, but actually orbs. Again, I'm getting orbs coming up quite a lot again from certain news outlets, as well as the podcast Redacted that got sent some images with regards to the incursions going on over New Jersey right now and neighboring states. Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting seeing how these guys are dealing with this. There's a lot of frustration in New Jersey.
All right. Yeah, he's right about that. New Jersey seems to have clusters and clusters of them. So, anyway, y'all, it has been very crazy during this entire government shutdown. And I don't think this is, I don't believe in a coincidence. I believe they saw this and they quietly cut, just shut everything down. They knew about 3I Atlas. Now, I don't know if this is all connected or not, but look, the bottom line is just the timing of it all. And they're right. These sightings have been seen long before drones were even flying around and people start owning drones. There are people that saw these glows in the water decades ago, decades long before people start buying drones and flying them around up in the sky. So this did not happen overnight, but it is ramping up. That's why you got Newsweek. I found a foreign source, Indian Time, and also WEON. They also had publications out talking about all these crafts in the water and up in the air around America. And Newsweek, Fox, it's just coming out more and more each day. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so crazy times. Crazy times, Black family. For those of you that are religious or subscribe to that doctrine, this stuff was prophesied in several chapters in the Bible, or several books rather, in the Bible. Daniel's prophecy, Revelation 13, etc., etc. So we'll keep y'all updated on 3I Atlas and these UFOs and these USOs. I believe Lisa when she says this is why the government was shut down in the first place, because there's something out there that they don't want us to know about. So they thought, oh, we'll just shut everything down and nobody will question anything. But no, we live in the information age now. Live in an age where people have satellites and drones and whatever else technical capability to see these things in real time. So we'll keep y'all updated on it. In other news, our brother Mystikal, some would say our brother Mystikal, some would say, others would say the Predator Mystikal, from No Limit. His release date has been confirmed, and why Mystikal was against the Verzuz. Mystikal's against the Verzuz, so for those that don't know, about 3 weeks ago, the Verzuz came back, and it was No Limit versus Cash Money. And if you ask me and several other people, No Limit won that hands down. Baby from Cash Money was all up in his feelings. He started crashing out, started talking that slob talk and all that nonsense. And yeah, it was not a good showing for Cash Money. The No Limit came out, showed out, and did the damn thing. And Young Bleed was there as well. He performed with them, with Master P and the rest of the No Limit camp. I keep swearing up and down that C Murder was there, but C Murder is still locked up. Mac was there. Fiend was there. Those that were No Limit soldiers, as I am. I'm a No Limit soldier. I thought I told you. We were brought back to our childhood for a lot of us that grew up on No Limit. So Young Bleed actually died shortly after the Verzuz. He ended up in the ICU, and as of like a week ago, passed away. So we're gonna cover that. The first Mystikal, his release date has been confirmed. So his cousin's gonna give us an update on that. His cousin is gonna give us an update on that.
So prior to the Verzuz, P reached out to Mystikal and was letting them know that it was gonna be going on. I mean, I don't know what he actually said to P, but you know, he wasn't feeling. Mystikal would have been the one to give Juvenile a run for his money on that Cash Money No Limit Verzuz, because Juvenile carried Cash Money on his back. Mystikal would have did the same thing.
What does the state have against Mystikal to where the state want to hold him, right? I mean, it's got to be somebody bigger than, you think it's somebody behind this shit?
When you think about a lot of the people from No Limit, like Matt got railroaded, C Murder got railroaded, Mystikal got railroaded, Slim died. Like, I can go on. They had it out for the whole No Limit. Yo, Mykfresh in this thing, you heard me? You tuned in with my boy Video.
Yes, sir.
You already know, cuz, how everything going, man? You straight? Yeah, I know you happy, man. We about to...
Nice meeting you too. I know the last we talked,
man,
there was a possibility that he was coming home soon, you know, so.
I got a time frame. I don't want to get to you, but I got a time frame. Like, I got an exact time frame. I'm going to just say this, though. He go to court in November. He go to court again in November.
Yeah, that's real soon.
And if they don't push it back again, he out of here.
Yes, sir. What did he think about the Verzuz?
So prior to the Verzuz, P reached out to Mystikal and was letting them know that it was going to be going on.
And what was Mystikal's response? So his energy behind it.
I mean, I don't know what he actually said to P, but you know, he wasn't feeling. Nah, I mean, you know, he showed love to it, like that's what's up. But him not being there was like, man, that's whack without me. Oh, yes, sir.
Damn, okay. And that would explain why you say they didn't use a Mystikal song or not even his verse.
Yeah, they cut all his parts out. They didn't shout him out. They didn't say free him. They didn't say none of that. But one thing about it though, I'm gonna say this: P been Joseph, cause P been like hiding at him, showing love. You know what I'm saying? Cuz just wasn't happy about the Verzuz thing going on while he behind the wall. I was like, it ain't supposed to stop for him. He wasn't mad that it's happening. He mad that he couldn't be a part of it.
But they played those songs. So what happened when they got to the Mystikal parts?
They skipped them. Man, look, I ain't gonna lie. It ain't my fault. With Silk verse first was horrible. If Mike was out there for that, I'm about my paper.
Mystikal got an actual fucking release date, man.
I ain't gonna call it a release date, but man, see, they keep pushing his court dates back. So when he go to court, they gonna let him out. That's why they ain't letting him make it to court. They just kept pushing the dates back.
Mystikal has been held without bond since his 2022 arrest on and domestic violence charges. He's entered not guilty pleas to those charges. Today, attorneys for all sides agreed they'll meet again next week to discuss future dates for the case.
He ain't getting a release date because he ain't even get sentenced.
But he would have to have a trial before he got sentenced, right?
That's what I'm saying, and he's not gonna have it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. That's what keep getting pushed back.
What does the state have against Mystikal to where the state want to hold him, right? I mean, it's got to be somebody bigger than. You think it's somebody behind this shit?
Right. I mean, when you think about a lot of the people from No Limit, like Matt got railroaded, C Murder got railroaded, Mystikal got railroaded. They had it out for the whole No Limit. You had some money around that time. They were getting too much money in the white people area. They had it out for everybody.
And Slim died. So did Slim.
Slim died. Like, I can go on.
Wait a minute, because a nigga talked that shit about how Birdman was knocking all his artists off, but we ain't never put that magnifying glass on P to say all his artists was getting locked up. And you talking about Mr. Magic, Soulja Slim died. Then you talking about, you know what I mean, the artists you named that got locked up.
Shout out to Mac though for coming home and being able to experience that stage. I wish, you know what I'm saying, see Murder could come home experienced that, and like even Mystikal, anybody who done got railroaded out, like even Boosie and like people that got a second chance. I'm glad they got their second chance, and like I would love for everybody that done got railroaded to get a second chance.
So when Mystikal was home, or when he comes home, was it or will he be facing any demons or any like dark areas in his life that always take control, that gets him in positions and shit like that? Or like, is it drink? Is it type of pills? Or is it like you said, him being too humble and trusting people? Or is it something that he gonna, you know?
The whole entertainment industry do drugs, if that's what you was getting at. So it's like, I think being too nice and letting the devil in, letting that demon in, or like, you know, when you too nice, you leave room for extortion. Like, you can't be nice like that, or you can't be too open and accessible. That's why people got bodyguards.
Find you something safe to play with, what? No. Find you something safe to play with.
A lot of people was clowning Birdman when dude was trying to walk up on him. I don't know if you've seen that, when the salesman was trying to walk up on Birdman, and he like, find you something safe to do, and they ain't even let him get close to him. Like, that's the complete opposite of Mystikal. Like, they're to walk right up on him. Here to let him get in the car and smoke a blunt with him, and like, it just been this weird.
You know, we spoke to T.I. T.I. said when he had to do his stint, sometimes, you know, people try to check him.
He said he got tried once.
He said he had to fight somebody. You ever got
two different cats?
Right?
Yeah, I ain't. I know.
Nobody ever tried you.
For what?
Any word on how he doing back there? Have you ever been on lockdown for getting in the fights that be fighting up there and shit? Or
Nah, ain't nobody playing with Cuz. Everybody's showing him love. He back there chilling, man. Like I told you, his spirits be super up, knocking his time down like a real one, and not complaining, ain't asking nobody for nothing. He walking his time down. Then when he come home, chin up, chest out. That's a real soldier right there, man. Like, that's a real soldier. Like, dude, a soldier. That situation would have broke so many people. Dude standing with his chin up and his chest out, man. You gotta respect him.
Especially to be innocent and still stand up with your chest out.
To be innocent, I'm telling you. And I want to show major love to Shadiq LaRue, because Shadiq overdose Empire. She run with Mia X and KLC. Man, she like tap in with Mystikal all the time. She jokes him. She always passing the word.
His mom told me she's praying for her son. This is video of them exiting the Ascension Parish Courthouse just after 3 o'clock this afternoon.
What about Mystikal's mom, bro? Does she have any worries, or she just excited he coming home? Or
she feel that pain for her son. Auntie Marie ready for her son to come home. She know that man innocent. She know he a good dude. And shout out to her too, because she right there. All the court dates, everything. She right there supporting her and Shadiq. Real ones. Shout out to both of them lovely black queens, them ladies. Auntie Marie, I love you.
Yes, sir. Man, that man come home and do a tour by himself, man. Mystikal don't need no fucking body.
That's a fact. Mystikal would have been the one to give Juvenile a run for his money on that Cash Money No Limit Verzuz, because Juvenile carried Cash Money on his back. Mystikal would have did the same thing. Mystikal the only one in No Limit outside of P who would have had like songs to go with like Juvenile. It's another thing too. P is rapping on more songs. P rapping on more hits than Birdman. So Birdman got like the whole label Cash Money. He would have needed some help, but he'd have ran out of songs if he'd had to go with the songs that he was on. That boy P got them.
Boy, P got whole albums for your ass, boy. He got versus
let's get up.
Say what you think about a Mystikal Juvenile versus. Who wins? Damn, I don't even want to ask you who wins. That's deep as fuck. But who wins? Fuck all that. Who wins, man?
Mystikal.
And then to that, who though?
I'm rocking with Mystikal. I'm rocking with Mystikal for sure. That'll be a good one. Hey, you know, Mystikal and Juvenile do a lot of shows together. They get booked a lot. Yeah. So like, I'd have been in a lot of shows with Cuz and Juvenile.
Who out here fucking with me? Huh? Tell me that. Gotta drop that shit. Where my pamper at? Answer that. Get my mantle back. I bury you cockroaches. Should have left me where I was at.
That Juvenile tried to put me. He tried to get me from backstage one time.
You talking about Juve?
Yeah, because he didn't know who I was. And I was telling him with Mystikal, he like, you can't be back here. I'm like, Your son back here, all your partners back here, you performing, my cousin performing, and we ain't even that deep as you. We gonna be back here, my brother. We not going nowhere. We're not leaving my cousin back here by himself. You got your people with you back here. Why my cousin can't have his people with him back here?
And how'd that work out? How'd it end up?
Like, I ain't go nowhere. Nigga wasn't finna make me go nowhere. I ain't get from backstage. I was back there and on the stage.
What about Juvenile and Mykfresh relationship? You guys have a relationship? Y'all know each other?
No, I don't know him. I done met him a bunch of times at the shows. Like when I go to the show with Cuz, like I said, they do a lot of shows together.
Yeah,
I never really like
100. Of course,
like met him across. We got one picture together.
Smashed on sight. To hell with that damn whack no 100. That slob ass motherfucker. Ugh.
As a matter of fact, I took a picture with him because I opened up for him at a show. But outside of that, the only run-in we had was him trying to get me from backstage when I was with my cousin. And then the other one was, like I said, I rocked the show. He was there. And shit, we took a picture.
Say, bro, Mystikal have kids?
He got multiple kids, but his first two is a boy and a girl, Michelle and me. Then he got some more kids that he had after he came home from jail. But see, look though, the last accuser of this last case is the mother of his oldest kids. And well, I'm gonna say this, and there's some information too. I'm gonna say this. She signed the affidavit, and like, you know, she went back on her word. Like, so she's trying to help him come home. The same person that accused him of this is trying to help him come home.
The Cash Money shit with Mystikal is, so that shit is pretty much over with, right? So there's no chance that unreleased Cash Money album, Mystikal Cash Money album, is gonna come out. Or is that possible?
I don't see it. I don't see it happening.
Any talks about him joining No Limit when he come home?
I don't see that. I mean, he probably gonna be touring with him and doing all the shows that they usually do, like the reunion shows, No Limit reunion, and the tour shows and stuff. But like, man, Cuz a boss, Cuz could start his own label. That's what he need to do. The big truck. I'm riding with him. If he do that, I'm riding with him. I don't want signing. I've been waiting on him my whole life. When I started rapping, he told me don't sign nobody. I ain't signing nobody. I'm waiting on you because of there they go. There they go. I'm coming around that steady flow. I ain't ready to. Can't nobody fly through the swamp to buy you like I do. He told me to remake Y'all Ain't Ready Yet. He said that that came out in 95 and I was born in 95. So he said he won't hear me rap on that. He said,
Mike, bro, you know that's some major shoes to fill, bro.
Don't get caught with
that's a big song, bro. Even though it's an old school song, that one.
Don't get caught with your drawers down. Shout out to Sparta Low. Whack no 100. Exactly. 3 fingers in the booty. The hell with him.
Still, you know, hey.
But look, this ain't on no clout type of time, man. You know, I could have been did that and whatever. Like, I ain't never do it like you said with some big shoes to fill. You know what I'm saying? With me, it was just like I don't want to be looked at like I'm just trying to like copy his style, copy his flow, or redo what he doing. Like, you know what I'm saying? That's because that's legendary stuff. Some of that stuff don't need to be touched. But like, he asked me for the first time, I ain't do it, and now after I just talked to him, he like, damn, you playing? Where it's at?
Look, give a fuck what them niggas got because I got mines. And when they get the holding nuts on me, I drop mines. I don't feel like nobody up in my way. I'm in my own lane. I don't give a damn what them niggas doing. I do my own thing. If you gonna be down with me, be all down with me or give around me. Nigga play with me in mines, I'ma be sitting in the fucking county. These niggas better take for the back of their head. Better run my cash. I ain't playing with that bitch ass. Couldn't fuck with the old, but all of a sudden will make you think you can fuck with the new. Nigga couldn't even walk in my shoe. Nigga wouldn't even know what to do. Nigga don't need some help. Nigga be full of themselves. Some of these niggas just need to get fucked up. They ain't gonna play with nobody else. I ain't the type of nigga to shoot the shit you on my shit list. And I ain't the type of nigga to need a nigga to handle my business. I'm on that type of time. Now these niggas be bold. These niggas be hoes. These niggas be acting like they got that sign. Be out just slinging them lows. And a nigga like me don't be giving a fuck if you fake. I'ma let you know. These niggas don't live by no codes. And it shows. Niggas be talking.
talk that shit, nigga talking about, huh? Talking about what? Nigga, the fuck, nigga, keep my motherfucking name out your motherfucking mouth and keep your motherfucking mouth shut.
Hey man, is there a Mykfresh and Mystikal song together technically?
No, it's not. He sent me a couple songs when he was trying to do his group thing. Remember I told you I jammed him up one time with like, say, cause let me get that song. What it's gonna take? Why I pay you? He like, shit, make me a couple grand. I got you. He's like, that's gonna make me do it ASAP. You give me a couple grand, I'm just done. And I went in my pocket and gave that nigga a couple grand. That was my last, and I gave it to him. And I thought I was gonna get that song, and I ain't get it. Months went by, months and months went by. And I shook back, got my money back up and everything. I'm really like, man, where my song at, cuz? I'm hitting them, cuz, where my song at? And he probably hit me one time after that about some money, like, say, cuz, you shoot me some bread right quick. I'm like, yeah, where my verse at though? That I paid for. But here, let me shoot that to you. And I say, matter of fact, this is what I did. When I shot the bread to him, I say, look, I need you to make me a video, make a shout out video and shout me out. Yeah. And that's like, this bread I'm sending you is for this. Do a video for me and say that that the song on the way. And he did a little shout out video talking about, yeah, I was dropping a mixtape and it was like a promo for my mixtape. And he like, yeah, I'm gonna be on that bitch too. But it was already out, man. He talking about I'm gonna be on that bitch too.
You thought it was finished, you thought it was over. You thought it was tired, rest in peace of cold. Nigga, still one of the coldest. Still upon a rapper here like Moses. Wow, what's up, man? Big don't miss in the building, man. Check this out. What you need to do, check out Lil Cuzzo, you heard me? Still married to the game. That Mykfresh, that bitch up, that bitch lit, you heard me? And I'm on that boy album, you heard me? Yeah. If I ain't finished the song, yeah, I'm doing it now. I got you, cuz, I got you, you heard me?
Let me rock the boat, let me clear my throat like a young rock him, taking off my coat.
Shout out to Young Bleed. Like, I got a song with Young Bleed. I got a song with Young Bleed. Young Bleed was one of the first people that worked with me when I was young. Him, C-Loke, Big Dog, like, and Young Ready. Rest in peace to Young Ready, racked up Ready. Like, I worked with them Baton Rouge dudes when I was first start rapping. Yesterday, I heard Young Bleed had passed on. And like when I got online, I seen a lot of posts saying that. And then I tapped in with a couple people I know, cause like I said, I know Bleed. Like me and Bleed got a song together. Like we done chopped it up on the phone. Like that's my dog for real. And I tapped in with some people that I know that's close to him, and they said he wasn't gone. He was still fighting for his life.
All right, so you heard from Mystikal's cousin himself. Mystikal could possibly be coming home soon, so we'll keep you updated on that. Like I said, Mystikal always been my favorite rapper out of No Limit. I've been rocking with him since the Dangerous Ground soundtrack. So, Mr. Shit Talking. So I was liking his music before he was even down with No Limit, and when he joined No Limit, it was a rap. I had that Unpredictable. I had that Ghetto Fabulous. You know, I had all his albums. I had Unpredictable, Ghetto Fabulous, Let's Get Ready, Tarantula, and I think I'm forgetting one. I had all those records. So yeah, I look forward to Mystikal coming home. If the lady retracted her statement, his baby mama who lied and said that he raped her, then I trust that he's not a rapist. But the first time he went to prison was they said he raped his hairdresser. And as far as Young Bleed, I always rock with Young Bleed too. Like that, how you do that there, that is my shit. I'll still bump that to this day. Yep, damn Young Bleed. My balls of my word, it's fucking fire. Yep, it is. It sure is. And the album he came out with after that was fire too. My word, I think, or what is the name of that shit? Lady Trey's little brother was telling me about it. I was like, oh yeah, I almost forgot about that shit. But yeah, he passed away, y'all. So I'm gonna cover that next. Young Bleed is gone. But not forgotten. His music still lives on. My balls of my word. That was shit. I was just bumping on that not too long ago. Album's called. He only had one album on No Limit, and that was that Balls of My Word. But then he had released another album. Oh yeah, it's definitely a classic. No Limit has so many classics. It's just like fuck. They really didn't have a bad album. They just were releasing On My Own. That's what it was called. My Own. That album was dope too. I don't know about Country Boy Living, Preserved, Living, the Calhoun Family. I guess that was his most recent project before he died. Better Than the Last Time. It's an absolute classic. Yeah. Yeah, Better Than the Last Time. How You Do That There. Bring the Noise. Time So Hard. I mean, that whole album is like a classic. So yeah, I'm gonna go on to Young Bleed, dying from an aneurysm, like our brother Khalid Abdul Muhammad died from. And this is right after the Verzuz. He ended up in the ICU. Why is it like this? I don't know why it's like this. Oh, I'm at the end of the queue. Okay. Let's start over.
Rapper Glenn Clifton Jr., also known as Young Bleed, died over the weekend from a brain ache. News 2's Haley Jefferson spoke with his family.
Michael, many people may know Young Bleed for his single, How You Do That, or his affiliation with rap label No Limit Records. His family says after a performance in Las Vegas a little over a week ago, he collapsed.
I'm gonna miss him. I'm not mad because he's gone. He left doing what he loved doing.
Glenn Clifton Jr., also known as Young Bleed, performed at the Cash Money No Limit Verzuz concert on October 25th. Hours later, he was rushed to the hospital. His family says after the concert, he went out with some friends to celebrate and performed again. But as the night began to wind down, they say he collapsed. Clifton's mother, Florida Allen, says he suffered a brain aneurysm that caused him to go into cardiac arrest.
Before they could get to him, he was out of oxygen for a while. And that's when they told us that he has no life to the brain.
Clifton passed away on November 1st at 51 years old, leaving behind his mother and 5 children.
Nobody never expected him to, not come home. He's never not done that.
Prior to Clifton's passing, his family says he didn't have any health issues except high blood pressure. Clifton first started his career as a rapper in Baton Rouge as a member of hip-hop group Concentration Camp that formed in 1995. A few years later, he was discovered by New Orleans native Master P, where he was signed to No Limit Records.
He always wanted his life to shine. And his life is shining. I just wish he was here to see it.
Ty G. Clifton says he will continue to keep his father's legacy alive by posting things like his music, pictures, and never-before-seen content on his social media.
At some point, once I get everything legally where it needs to be, I'm going to give them all of that type of stuff. So just that. If I feel like it's getting dry out there, I'm going to drop something they ain't never seen.
Clifton's family set up a GoFundMe to help with hospital bills, funeral costs, and transporting him from Las Vegas to Baton Rouge. You can find a link to that on our website, WBRZ.com.
Word. I believe it. I believe it. Leonard, I never heard their music before, but I'm just him alone.
We got to look for that 10.5 million illegal aliens that came across that border. We got to look at that's in addition to 15 million.
Oh, this is something completely different. But yeah, more deportations on the way, y'all. So yeah, R.I.P. to Young Bleed. Like I said, I grew up on his music as well. So he was like, he was one of my favorites out of No Limit too. And he said that all I have in this world are my balls and my word. That is a classic. That whole album is a classic. That track Better Than Last Time was dope. How You Do That There was dope. I mean, the whole album was just dope. Lady Chase Little Brother Said My Own was his shit. That was his second studio album that he released through Priority. So yeah, he will definitely gone, missed, gone, but not forgotten. So hopefully he got his masters. Hopefully his son can get all that. So he will be good to go. It's a shame that he didn't have life insurance. Like Mr. Servon said, had a whole album called Life Insurance. And unless you take it seriously, all these artists and family dying with no life insurance. All these artists dying with no life insurance. It's crazy. They shouldn't have to set up no GoFundMe. But it is what it is. All right, so moving along, we are on to I think it's Cardi B and the SNAP-ocalypse. Yeah. So Professor Black Truth gonna give us an update on that. Cardi B and the EBT/SNAP-ocalypse. So for those that don't know, or been living under a rock or something, since the government's been shut down, SNAP benefits did not come this month for most of the 42 million Americans that receive it, including myself and Lady Che. Our state, however, is one of those Trump-proof states where they're trying to be a Trump-proof state. So we got ours, 2 days ago? 3 days ago now. After Ketanji Brown Jackson tried to stop it altogether. The damn coon, the damn mammy tether that's on the Supreme Court. Colorado defied it and released the benefits anyway, along with several other blue states. So they're really upset about that. They're talking about they're going to cut funding to the states or whatever. I don't even think they care at this point. You shouldn't be gambling with people's lives and people's means of feeding themselves. So there's that. So Professor Black Truth is going to give us an update on Cardi B and the EBT SNAP-ocalypse.
If you're not already subscribed to this YouTube channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now, along with the bell icon, so you can be notified whenever a new video is posted. And if you're already subscribed, check and make sure that YouTube hasn't unsubscribed you. And of course, be sure to give the video a like as well as share it on your social media. The white supremacists hate that. And now, the Sunday address. Before we get into the heart of this evening address about the SNAP-ocalypse, this is something that I feel that I need to go ahead and address right off the bat. I have zero doubt that I'm going to regret this, but there's something that I feel needs to be clarified. Ordinarily, there's some people I see taking shots at Cardi B, who would normally be kissing her hairy, musty behind, and let me be the first to say that if she has one more facial surgery, she could be Lisa Rinna's stunt double. Now, I have to say this for the folks who don't listen so well. You guys know after 17 plus years that I have unbridled contempt for people like Cardi B. In fact, I have unbridled contempt for her personally. I have no reason to say anything that could even remotely be construed or misconstrued as anything other than an insult. So why am I starting this evening's address off with talking about this recent Cardi B controversy? Because there seems to be some folks who are going out of their way to make up something that, believe it or not, she didn't actually say. There's people who are passing around only about 1/3 of her little video rant, and they're attempting to manufacture context instead of letting the video speak for itself. There's people who have been saying that Cardi B's attacking her own fans. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if you're a fan of Cardi B, you deserve it. But I couldn't help but notice that the main ones spreading that line were trash like Steven Crowder and Tommy Lauren. And that phrase in particular has been making the rounds with a lot of folks who have been repeating it, particularly people who would be right-wing aligned, but also a lot of other folks who aren't. And they're just saying Cardi B is saying that her fans are going to have to eat raccoons for Thanksgiving. Cardi B is telling her fans, y'all need to eat raccoons for Thanksgiving. That's the phrase that I've seen kicked around quite a bit. But most of you haven't seen the complete remarks that she made. In fact, a lot of you folks haven't seen the video at all. And the ones who did only saw like about 10 or 15 seconds of it. You saw these selectively, and I would say deceptively edited clips that only take the last part of her remarks, and then they say she was talking about her fans. Now, in the video, she specified exactly who it was that she was talking about. And you tell me, does she say anywhere that she's talking about her fans?
Remember all them jobs that he was saying the immigrants was having? Now they're saying, well, the immigrants' job is gone. Get to work, just because the immigrants are gone don't mean that we're going to give you this free food. Y'all get to working. Yeah. Yeah. So while y'all was happy and all that shit, and I hope white people is watching me. Well, not just all white people. I'm not going to put everything, but there's a lot of white Americans, a certain type of white Americans that like, they are so, you know, they country, they eat raccoons and shit, all type of shit. They live in the Appalachian mountains and shit like that. And these are the type of people, because y'all we live in certain ghettos, we live in certain poverties, but then there's certain poverties that white folks live in. They live in trailers, they live in mountains, they eat squirrels and shit. And those are the type of white Americans that they live in towns that like they used to like do coils and shit, like coal, whatever. And now they're out of jobs and all that shit. And instead of blaming America and technology for the poverty that they're going through, they blame it on the immigrants. And these are the type of people that I want y'all to watch this live, because y'all thought that immigrants and this and that, and we gotta go for Donald Trump. Y'all thought that he was gonna be your hero. He don't like y'all. Yo, poor, you're poor. He don't like you. He don't like you. He don't give a you black, white, Asian, Spanish. If you poor, he don't like you. He ain't for you. Okay?
I don't know why you can't hear it, Judah. Let me stop sharing and try to share again. Streaming must have got this stupid again. Let me try this again. Rewind.
If you're not already subscribed to this YouTube channel, go ahead and hit the subscribe button now, along with the bell icon, so you can be notified whenever a new video is posted. And if you're already subscribed, check and make sure that YouTube hasn't unsubscribed you. And of course, be sure to give the video a like as well as share it on your social media. The white supremacists hate that. And now, the Sunday address. Before we get into the heart of this evening address about the SNAP-ocalypse, this is something that I feel that I need to go ahead and address right off the bat. I have zero doubt that I'm going to regret this, but there's something that I feel needs to be clarified. Ordinarily, there's some people I see taking shots at Cardi B who would normally be kissing her hairy, musty behind, and let me be the first to say that if she has one more facial surgery, she could be Lisa Rinna's stunt double. Now, I have to say this for the folks who don't listen so well. You guys know after 17 plus years that I have unbridled contempt for people like Cardi B. In fact, I have unbridled contempt for her personally. I have no reason to say anything that could even remotely be construed or misconstrued as anything other than an insult. So why am I starting this evening's address off with talking about this recent Cardi B controversy? Because there seems to be some folks who are going out of their way to make up something that, believe it or not, she didn't actually say. There's people who are passing around only about 1/3 of her little video rant, and they're attempting to manufacture context instead of letting the video speak for itself. There's people who have been saying that Cardi B's attacking her own fans. Well, as far as I'm concerned, if you're a fan of Cardi B, you deserve it. But I couldn't help but notice that the main ones spreading that line were trash like Steven Crowder and Tommy Lauren. And that phrase in particular has been making the rounds with a lot of folks who have been repeating it, particularly people who would be right-wing aligned, but also a lot of other folks who aren't. And they're just saying Cardi B is saying that her fans are going to have to eat raccoons for Thanksgiving. Cardi B is telling her fans, y'all need to eat raccoons for Thanksgiving. That's the phrase that I've seen kicked around quite a bit. But most of you haven't seen the complete remarks that she made. In fact, a lot of you folks haven't seen the video at all. And the ones who did only saw like about 10 or 15 seconds of it. You saw these selectively, and I would say deceptively edited clips that only take the last part of her remarks, and then they say she was talking about her fans. Now, in the video, she specified exactly who it was that she was talking about. And you tell me, does she say anywhere that she's talking about her fans?
Remember all them jobs that he was saying the immigrants was having? Now they're saying, well, the immigrants' job is gone. Get to work, just because the immigrants are gone don't mean that we're going to give you this free food. Y'all get to working. Yeah. Yeah. So while y'all was happy and all that shit, and I hope white people is watching me. Well, not just all white people. I'm not going to put everything, but there's a lot of white Americans, a certain type of white Americans that like, they are so, you know, they country, they eat raccoons and shit, all type of shit. They live in the Appalachian mountains and shit like that. And these are the type of people, because y'all we live in certain ghettos, we live in certain poverties, but then there's certain poverties that white folks live in. They live in trailers, they live in mountains, they eat squirrels and shit. And those are the type of white Americans that they live in towns that like they used to like do coils and shit, like coal, whatever. And now they're out of jobs and all that shit. And instead of blaming America and technology for the poverty that they're going through, they blame it on the immigrants. And these are the type of people that I want y'all to watch this live, because y'all thought that immigrants and this and that, we gotta go for Donald Trump. Y'all thought that he was gonna be your hero. He don't like y'all. Yo, poor, you're poor. He don't like you. He don't like you. He don't give if you black, white, Asian, Spanish. If you poor, he don't like you. He ain't for you. Okay? He ain't for you. And now, ain't no food stamps. Y'all gonna have to hunt raccoons and shit for Thanksgiving and eat beans and shit.
All right. See, I had watched the video, and now so have you. She clearly said she was talking about white people, and even then she made it clear she specifically was talking about those who voted for Trump. She said she was talking about the white people living in places like Appalachia or Appalachia, whatever the hell she said. Last time I checked, Cardi B doesn't have too many fans from Appalachia or coal country. Though the Tommy Laurens and the Steven Crowders and other right-wing nuts online, these are the main people who they like to say that they're speaking for and claiming they're speaking on behalf of. When they talk about small-town America, or they talk about outside the large cities, outside the urban, read black areas, that's who they're talking about, Appalachia, etc., what they try to call the heart of the country. Whatever. But the point is, that's who Cardi B was talking about. Now, why would anyone want to deliberately go ahead and say she was talking about her fans? Sure, a large number of her fans are going to be affected by the SNAP and EBT suspended payments, but everyone's going to. Why lie, though, and say she was talking about her fans? I recognize these kind of coordinated message campaigns, and this one smelled like ops to me from the jump, even before I saw the video. Smelled like someone's trying to make a big deal out of a nothing burger because they need to change the headlines. Polling for the midterm elections next year has already started in earnest, and those numbers are already going sour ahead of time for the Orange Man. Perhaps for the first couple of weeks, it looked like they could put the spin on the Democrats, but the reality happened to be that as people's benefits and their entitlements didn't get paid out, they're looking at the Republicans and saying, you guys are in charge, so you have to have some sort of influence over this, right? This is not the kind of baggage that the GOP wants to drag into next year's elections. So if you're one of these online folks who lives on the internet, what comes to your empty head? Let's see if we can change the headlines. How do you do that? By manufacturing one. And while people are getting upset about something that didn't actually happen, the white powers that be get to slither off while everybody else is bickering amongst themselves. Now, I don't think I need to tell anybody that I'm not a Cardi B fan and I'm not sticking up for her. What I'm saying is, just be aware that when it comes to these political connivers on the white left and the white right, they understand full well that somebody like a Cardi B can be a useful idiot for them. She's the kind of person who can be a shiny object that they can dangle in front of people and say, look what she said, and there'll be people who actually run with it, whether she said it or not. And their whole goal was to get attention and heat off of themselves. That said, I can also understand why it is they had problems with what she said. She was talking about white people who voted for Trump. Yeah, they love to go ahead and get that one off the headlines. People from the dominant society have no reason to be on public assistance to begin with. 500 plus years, this country has been nothing but the world's largest giveaway scheme for people who are classified as white. 500 years of goodies, giveaways, and most of all, guarantees that are simply handed to someone by benefit of the fact that they exist. So that being the case, if you got all of these white skin privileges, all of this white privilege, all of these economic giveaways, what the heck do you need public assistance for? And on top of that, if the Tommy Laurens and the Steven Crowders and others are upset at the idea that a lot of the folks who they claim to speak for up in coal country and Appalachia, etc., are going to be winding up having to, as Cardi B puts it, eating raccoons and beans and such for Thanksgiving, well, the question is, why the hell hasn't the GOP done anything for these people in the last 150 years? See, this is what happens when people decide that they're going to be voting for a political party, even though that party hasn't actually done anything for you. And what you teach that political party is that they don't have to do anything for you. As long as they go ahead and give you some psychic benefits, particularly attacking black people, as long as they make you feel like you're superior to them, then that's all you need to vote for them. And when that happens, that becomes habit forming. After a while, not only do they not bring you anything, they have contempt for the idea that they should. So, although I don't like the messenger, the message is nonetheless valid. You got those folks running around saying, I voted for this. Yes. And now when you got all of those poor folks, uneducated white folks in Appalachia who are seeing their public benefits that they depend on cut, this is what you voted for. White Americans are the majority of those on public assistance in the U.S., though you wouldn't know it by the white media's coverage. So when these SNAP and EBT cuts came down, a lot of them were finding themselves going hungry. And a lot of them are finding themselves having to go to food pantries and other forms of charity. That matters because one of the myths that's been created in America is that basically those in the dominant society, they're not down and out. That's one of the things that the white media understands. You got to be covetous about covering their image a certain way. These programs weren't created to help black people. They were created to help white, uneducated people without jobs who lived in impoverished areas. And whatever pressure there is to resume these benefits programs is going to come from them. The white media's job, however, is propaganda, so they're going to do everything they can not to show white people down and out. As the white recipients make more noise, expect the white media to be putting Bushika and her kids in front of the cameras instead, to deliberately create the misimpression that it's black people who are the ones who are making the most noise about this. And that's also a problem for the white left. Because you got a bunch of them who are on TV and in print and on websites pushing the lie that, oh, we got to resume these programs to help the black community. Why, it's the black community who's the most reliant on these programs. See, they did as much as the Republicans to make black people the face of these things. Never mind the fact that white women are the majority of the people using it. And that's the reason why you got these folk who saw Cardi B, a rapper who they don't listen to and don't care about. She's sitting here saying all of these white folks up in Appalachia who voted for Trump and this is what you get. And that's why they responded with, oh, she's talking about her fans. See, it doesn't matter if it's the white left or the white right. They both use the exact same false narratives. That's the point of this Sunday address. We got to understand the times may change, but these people don't. That's the reason why, whether it be the Great Depression, the Great Recession of '89, the 2008 economic crash, or this, they have to keep learning the same lesson over and over again, but it never sticks. The black grassroots have expressed a number of opinions about the suspension of these SNAP EBT benefits, and the reactions have ranged from outrage at impoverished people having the rug pulled out from under them to people who have been genuinely glad at the ceasing of what they see as the government subsidizing dysfunction in the black community. I can see the merit in both positions, though admittedly I lean a hell of a lot harder toward the latter than the former. And at the threat of sounding harsh, although both positions are valid, they're not equally valid. There's a reality here. The white man who has the power to give you everything also has the power to take everything away. People who the government has living hand to mouth, these are individuals who are never going to rise up against that system because they become dependent on it. The lesson is that it's a mistake for black people to think that they can get anything from this system of white supremacy without having some sort of influence over it. That means power. Too many black people have been looking for a comfortable place under white supremacy, and we keep telling you the only safe place is fighting it. Just think that it's very interesting that although Cardi B made it a point to say that she was specifying her remarks about white people in general and white Republicans in specific who had voted for Trump, those white right-wingers, they were the ones trying to lead the charge to say, oh, she's talking about her fans. Yeah, because everybody knows that those good white folks up in coal country just love them some Cardi B, right? No, what it comes down to is there's a reality that they are all too aware of, which is the majority of these public benefits beneficiaries happen to be white. And instead of them saying, you know what, Cardi B, we don't like her music, hell, we don't even like her, but you know what, she's got a point. You got those folk up in coal country, it's time for some self-reliance. After all, she had basically just summarized what the white right message had been from conservative media for the last 50 years. Except what they didn't like was who she was pointing that message at. So are these people on the white right really truly interested in reducing dependency on government? Or are they just using it as yet another Trojan horse to hide in and say, well, we're talking about this program, but we really mean black people. And if there were no black people on public assistance, you better believe they would be pointing at or making up something else. We don't need any bad actors muddying the waters on this one. There's more than enough wrong with Cardi B without having to make things up. And that doesn't make her right, by the way. She's a slimy ex-stripper turned rapper thought, and that's nothing to be proud of. But the people who brought you this controversy, they knew exactly what they were doing. And they're also fully aware that when it comes to the black grassroots, there's nobody over here who's trying to do Cardi B any kind of favors. And as for the EBT SNAP-ocalypse, let this serve as a lesson to black people who happen to be on those programs. These things are not a leg up. They're not help. These are traps. And both political parties have been making full use of it. One side tries to leverage votes by the doling out of these benefits, and the other side runs the corporations that make money that is given to them in the form of these benefits. Where do you think all that money winds up at when it actually gets paid out to people? It goes to those corporations, and not just the grocery stores, but also to the banks who are the ones who actually put out the cards that are used by these people. Perhaps the most sophisticated of the evil genius of Europe is the idea that they were able to take their mendacity and monetize it. Whatever evil they were doing, they always wanted to make sure that they had a way that they could make a buck off of it. That way, it would be self-perpetuating and self-reinforcing too. The only true hedge against things like this is group economics. A people who relearn the principles of relying on one another will have an internal economy that can weather these storms. So long as you're relying on white power, you'll never rely on black people. And that's why these programs are traps for us. For those from the dominant society, they're always going to make sure that there's all kinds of ladders and all kinds of help for them. There's no reason for them to be on public assistance at all. They got all the help in the world. But for black folks, they're like, nah, basically it's either going to be the streets or this. But nothing happens in a vacuum under white supremacy. These programs have had a deleterious effect on the community because they sow the seeds of dysfunction. The biggest reason we have so many backstabbers, turncoats, and sellouts, and people who do things to disrupt the community is because they understand they can do all this dirt against us, but still be able to eat the next day, either because a white corporation's feeding them or because a white government program is. And this is how they get loyalty. And none of these people can claim that, well, the problem happens to be the rules that the black grassroots wants. Give me a break. The rules of white supremacy are far harsher than anything the black grassroots could demand. The problem happens to be that there are folks who don't want to have any rules at all. And white power for a minute seems like it's going along with that, but it never does for long. These programs are just another form of control, a leash, because no dog bites the hand that feeds them. And it also indoctrinates black children to think of white power as their benefactor instead of their oppressor. This is how you derange the internal politics of an oppressed group. Hate and what appears to be support both occupy the same space, but the balance always leans more toward hate. Any so-called assistance that isn't empowering you isn't assistance at all. It's just repression with a friendly face. Now, that's not a welcome message to those who genuinely need these programs, but the goal isn't to make the best of a bad situation. The goal must always be to get out of that situation. If a job is just over broke, then SNAP and EBT is just above starving. And hood rats and dusty females making videos showing shopping carts full of food on the first of the month, that's meant to appeal to the spiritually lazy and the immature, to make it look like you're getting something for nothing, or worse, like you're winning, as if you can be powerless but still be eating. That's what they want people to think. Well, white power is showing that the game is theirs because they've got the ability to pull your card, in this case, EBT card. I won't say that this is a wake-up call for certain people who have become dependent on these things, because I know that's not going to happen. So instead, I'll say that if after this, you still refuse to understand how vulnerable you make yourself, then when these programs do get sharply curtailed or even eliminated, the only thing you'll be eating are your words. Good evening, and be one. I'd like to take a moment to mention some of our contributors. Burkett Cochrane, Suleiman Alaji, Brian Walton, Glenda Tice, and Greg Simpson. Salute to them and thank you to everyone for listening, liking, and sharing this message. Black empowerment only exists because of you.
Tonight, Baton Rouge native and rapper Glenn Clifton Jr., also known as
Today marks day.
All right, thank you, for Professor Black Truth, for that awesome commentary. Yeah, you're definitely right, Professor Black Truth. They give it to and they could take it away. And I had already had a backup plan for if they didn't turn the SNAP benefits back on, and that was the food banks. I live stream every time I go to the food banks. I run a food bank out of my building. I've been doing food bank and food deliveries and growing my own food for almost a decade now. So we got to become reliant on ourselves instead of the white government. So I've been being self-sufficient. So I mean, I'm appreciative of the stamps, but that's not my only means of getting food. All right, so moving along, Colorado, like I said, is one of those Trump-proof states, or trying to be one of those Trump-proof states. And Colorado defends SNAP benefit disbursements amid Trump administration push to undo the benefits. So this is from our ABC affiliate, Denver 7. Maybe give us an update on that.
40 of the government shut down, and many Americans are now feeling the full impact, from travel restrictions to the new and confusing messaging on SNAP benefits. Thank you so much for joining us for Denver 7 News at 5. I'm Jacqueline Allen. To keep SNAP benefits or to not keep SNAP benefits? That's the question in Colorado right now. The latest developments today on Capitol Hill, Democrats are offering to reopen the government if health care tax credits are extended for 1 year. Republicans rejected that. So the fight over SNAP benefits hangs in the balance. This is an issue many Coloradans tell us they are concerned about because of some crazy back and forth. Friday night, some people in our state started receiving their November benefits, but that was halted hours later when the Supreme Court granted the Trump administration's request to pause payments. This morning, we learned those payments that did make it through were unauthorized, and states are being asked to, quote, immediately undo any steps taken to issue full SNAP benefits for November. So here's the deal. Governor Polis told us yesterday the money that was sent cannot be revoked. So today, Denver 7's Adria Irahita is following up with his office about what comes next.
The full SNAP benefits that went out to 32,000 Coloradans on Friday in limbo after a USDA memo directing states to immediately undo any steps taken to issue full benefits. I've been working all day to try to get those answers for you. On Saturday, the Food Research and Action Center told me the next couple of days would bring more clarity.
We should know within 48 hours the stay will be lifted, and the court hopefully will have some sort of decision, or we will hear more by Monday.
The Food Research and Action Center and Governor Jared Polis told me the money wouldn't be revoked when I spoke to them yesterday.
They could use their card as regulars.
They can't grab them. It's an entitlement program, right?
But hours later, the USDA memo dropped. Today, Governor Jared Polis released this statement saying, quote, the state has not reversed those payments as they were allowed at the time, adding the state is moving to provide the roughly 560,000 Coloradans who haven't received payments partial benefits of up to 65% in alignment with the updated guidance. I also reached out to the Colorado Department of Human Services. In a statement, it confirms all payments loaded onto EBT cards prior to the Supreme Court order remain available, and SNAP participants are able to use those funds. But the USDA memo says if states don't comply, they could lose access to some federal funds to manage the SNAP program and may be held liable for funding the full benefits. I reached out to political science expert Robert Preuss about the legality of rescinding benefits. He tells me the payments will be hard to get back once used, and the Trump request will likely end up back in the courts.
The Colorado Department of Human Services also tells me it's taking steps to issue payments that fall in line with the new directive as quickly as possible. If nothing changes, SNAP recipients should see funds sometime this week. In studio, Adria Arjita, Denver 7.
More information soon. Thank you, Adrian. We remain committed to helping those affected by this shutdown through Denver 7 Gives. We have already raised more than $15,000. So if you'd like to donate, you can scan the QR code on your screen or visit denver7.com.
So yeah, my state is going against the grain. Me and Lady Chair were one of them 32,000 Coloradans that received our payments on Friday night. Like they said, it was right before midnight. So it's good. Hopefully the other people get theirs too. It's ridiculous. They start gambling with people's lives. If you pay into the system, you should be able to get something out of the system. So yeah, that's my thoughts on it. And yeah, that is an interesting fact, Leonard, that food stamps comes from the Nazis, and it was a control mechanism. Yeah. And for the longest, black people couldn't even access food stamps. White people have been getting food stamps since the 1930s. And as you know, it was Jim Crow, so we definitely couldn't get nothing. We didn't get nothing until the 1960s, and that was after a lot of blood, sweat, and toil, fire hoses, dogs sicked on us, and whole tanks and bullets, real bullets, not rubber bullets, real bullets used on us. So there's that. All right, so that's all I have for y'all tonight. Thank you for tapping in. Make sure y'all join us later on today after City Council for part 3 of the Front Line Blacc News. In the meantime, make sure y'all like and subscribe to all of our platforms. Front Line Blacc News on YouTube and Facebook. The Revolutionary Agenda on YouTube and Facebook. And Shabaka's Black Experience Enhanced on Facebook and Twitter. So peace, love, light, reparations, and separations and delineations and black empowerment. Appreciate everybody, or the few people that tapped in, like Leonard Judah. Appreciate you always, bro. And Twin Pyramid, our hype man, always a pleasure to have you here. And anybody that listens to the playback, we appreciate you as well. So, Chan Kuma signing out from the Mile High Income and illegal migrant flooded city. Y'all stay safe, stay warm, There's polar vortex coming through the country right now. So it's like freezing outside here in Colorado. They're getting like a feet of snow in Chicago. And, yeah, it's crazy. So stay warm, y'all. Peace.